Stop. Put down the shoe. I know you're hungry. I know you're busy. I know cooking can be intimidating. But our sponsor, Blue Apron, makes cooking so easy you don't have to eat your footwear. For less than $10 per person per meal, Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes along with pre-portioned ingredients to make delicious home-cooked meals. I love cooking, and when I was getting my chef legs, I was all over Blue Apron because it was easy and it was fun and I knew what I was doing. There was instructions. It was great. So what's on the new menu? Well, there's seared chicken and creamy pasta salad with summer squash and sweet peppers. Creamy shrimp rolls with quick pickles. I don't know. I've never heard of a quick pickle, but I'll tell you right now, I'm in. 100% I'm in. Sweet potato wedges and fresh basil fettuccine pasta with sweet corn and Cubanelle pepper. I cook a lot. I don't even know what Cubanelle pepper is, but it sounds good. If you don't like those items, they don't sound good to you, it's no big deal. You get to pick what Blue Apron sends you, so don't sweat it. There's tons of options. Check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/Greggy. You will love how good it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron, so don't wait. That's blueapron.com/Greggy. Blue Apron, a better way to cook, and you don't have to eat your shoe. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the GameOverGreggy show. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, and you know we're off to a good start if it's a deep sigh from Tim. Before we do anything, just a deep,
once again, a song sigh. I don't know, but yet
how do you not know this?
Just knows and
so
jump in
I don't know
and
if Kevin included it there, so we'll do it again. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play today. It was like when you go to...
ring any bells for you?
No.
Okay.
Did you?
I want to play center field.
Yeah, it's a baseball song.
Andy.
It's like it's a good baseball song.
Do you think chewing gum on a podcast is a smart thing?
That's probably a good.
Yeah, go and throw it out. Go on.
Probably a good point.
Go on.
Here, hold
Get
on.
out of
I'll
Good
finish my
point.
coffee.
Oh God, he's gonna drink
how we
it.
do
Give him
things
the
here?
one. Give him the one. And then spit it in there.
God.
Now, Cool Greg, come here. Give me the one. Cool Greg, bring the trash can into frame. Then we do this. And there it is.
There it is.
Look at that.
My
It's
favorite
like
part about you guys is your professionalism.
it's like
Yeah, you know.
I like to think of us as like the mousetrap board game, where we could just you could just go spit it in the trash can. But wouldn't it be more fun if it was like you know what I mean?
Sure, I guess so. So that song is when you go to baseball games,
Right.
With your pops and your mas,
Yeah.
and they play that song during like inning.
The changeovers, yeah,
During-
like
yeah,
where
during
The 7th inning stretch.
no, that's sacred
No,
time. That's not.
Take
No.
me out to
No
the
halftimes there,
ball
yeah.
game. Yeah, they play that song every once in a while, and I think it was back home with the Edinburgh Coyotes.
See, this is what I was going to say. For me, it was the Kane County Cougars. I never heard it at the White Sox games or the Cubs games. It's always minor league.
It was always
plays that.
minor league games. Yeah, the Brownsville White Wings. No, they were Harlingen White Wings. I forgot what they were called.
Sure.
The Harlots?
That's when they play it.
Huh?
The Harlots and White Wings?
No, Harlingen White Wings.
That's the pure one, Tim Gettys.
Let's most.
This is the Hispanic heartthrob, Andy Cortez.
Hi.
You guys got nicknames?
Yeah, we do.
Nice.
And you're my hot pepper Game Boy Vernon Shaw.
Come on, friend.
I know, you're back on the Game Over Greggy show.
Oh, thanks so much
while.
for having me, man.
Yeah,
You were on back in the old days.
Yeah.
The old
Yeah.
office.
Now look at you guys. You guys
I
got a
know.
set.
We got
Yeah.
a wall.
You guys.
Video wall.
So I keep looking at the fan, and it just says Vornado on it.
Yeah.
Tornado fan.
Like a vortex, but it's
No,
also...
like vor.
Vortex tornado.
not like the fetish.
Yeah, not the fetish.
What's the...
Oh, sit down, Greg. Like the vor fetish is people who enjoy sexually, from a sexual perspective, being eaten. And happy to be back
Wait,
to
like-
immediately talk about vor.
But like eating like cannibalism or eating just like I'm eating pussy?
I mean, no, it's being eaten.
Yeah.
Jesus,
Being eaten.
no.
Some people enjoy like the eating.
I
Some
learned
people
about it
enjoy
on
the
Reddit.
stomach expansion of it all. Like don't even
Stomach
like.
expansion.
Oh, wait,
I
not
know,
eating
yeah.
people, just eating food?
No.
Eating-
Usually it's a person in there. Oftentimes
wait,
they're
what?
yeah.
Hold on.
Here we go.
I'm
There you go.
getting
Yep.
a little
Kevin
confused
has
here.
brought up over here vor fetish for us. That it looks like okay.
Of course I.
Oh my God! Please show
That's
that
Hey
one. Can we
Arnold.
show that one?
Let's not show any of
No,
them.
let's
It's
show
Hey
this
Arnold?
one. Let's show everything on the screen is safe.
Kevin. You have to put
And
that
for
up.
the listeners,
God.
it's Hey
Oh,
Arnold
Jesus.
eating the girl from Hey
No,
Helga.
he's snorting. He's snorting Helga.
Oh yes, Arnold, snort me.
He's snorting Helga Pataki's
Nasal. It's
legs.
nasal vor. There's a question mark. Is this vor or not?
Who could choke hold a bear?
And super dickery.
There's factions to the vor community.
Of
Like,
course.
that's another podcast for
There's
another day.
there's a
Okay.
brooding war on the horizon.
Oh, dude, don't even get me
Nasal
started on like lunars who enjoy expansion versus lunars who enjoy popping. It's a balloon fetish. Yeah,
Lunars?
What
What I don't understand about you, Vernon, is how you spend your time.
like,
You're
okay.
like, you know YouTube really well. Last time you were here was Hot Pepper Gaming stuff. I think you just made the jump to Game Grumps. maybe
Yeah,
back
But
in
like
the
we
day.
weren't even allowed to talk
Yeah,
about it.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
like the space
It was
between
that week,
spaces.
yeah.
Right,
The
right.
space between.
So it's been
It's
a year and a half.
Lines.
So here's the thing, like one of the best compliments that anyone ever has given me is like, oh man, Vernon, you're so good at like looking at internet cultures and looking at it from like an almost like observer's perspective and not getting pulled in too deep. And this dad game that we're working on is the first time where it's like, oh, I'm in too deep.
Okay.
Like I'm all about dads right now.
Oh, so is that where you learned about Vor?
Oh yeah, there's no. I regret to inform you that there's no vor content inside of Dream Daddy, a dad dating simulator. But yeah, I know. But there was research done into it.
Bullshit.
It's total bullshit, Kevin.
It
Thank
was
you
all my
for that.
personal time, but you know.
Yeah,
That's the thing,
yeah.
I don't know how much you're making games, you're working on these things, you're making videos, you're riding your
tired
bike,
all
and
the
then you're
time.
looking at porn.
But yeah,
and, like,
so
really
for the
weird.
people-
Not really
Yeah.
weird.
The
but
people
you know
that don't know, you can hear his whole backstory on the last GOG we did. But top level, Hot Pepper Gaming.
Yep.
Then
Game Grumps.
Game Grumps,
And
and now you're
we're
making a game called
Dream Daddy, a dad dating simulator.
with.
Game Grumps, and I'm co-creating it with Layton Gray, who's just off camera right
She's
now.
right there.
You'll see her in a
Come
second.
on, walk through
Wait,
and
yeah.
do a little like what do you call a parade wave, and then just
Yeah.
keep going, keep going, keep
Layton,
going,
there
keep
we go.
going. There you go. There you go. Yeah, all right. There you
Oh,
go.
no, get on.
No,
Why-
you-
Cross it. Get out of the way.
She's like, oh no.
You got to get back to home.
I just spit out a gum into a cup. You can walk in front of the camera. It's all good. It's
Lucy
all
Goosey
good.
here at the GameOverGreggy podcast.
Yeah,
But so
it's
you
hard to
pitched,
say out
you
loud.
pitched me on this game about a month ago.
Yeah,
back
yeah.
in E3, and you're
Yeah.
like, Tim, I got to tell you about my next project. You actually DM'd me like a while back. You're
Yeah.
like, I can't wait to tell you what I'm
I
working
wanted
on.
to be like, kind of like, oh, I got to hype up Tim.
Yeah,
It's
well,
like,
It's so easy to hype up Tim.
You got me. I think you pulled me and Andy aside, and you're like, so here's what it is.
Yeah, here's what's
Yeah.
going on.
Just
I'm
your
making
friends.
a game
Just pull your
about
friends
hot
aside.
dads, just trying to find other hot dads.
yeah. Layton will be able to tell the story better than I can in a bit. But like she came to me and you know, we'd known each other for a while, and we were going to Disneyland, and we got on the topic of like the Dilfs of Disneyland.
Dilfs of Disneyland,
like
big fan.
The best
Follow him on
Instagram.
Instagram.
The who?
Dilfs of Disneyland.
Oh, dads I like
It's
to fuck.
just,
Okay.
Yeah, it's just hot dads at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Darren
cool.
Brazil made the cut once.
Wow.
His proudest moment. Yeah.
Oh wow, good
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Like there's two versions of me. Like I tried so hard to get on Cute Boys with Cats when that was a thing. And I hope that when I get older, like I can make it onto Dilfs of Disneyland. It's like
Sure.
the Forbes 30 under 30 for me.
Okay, gotcha.
Like there's a couple things I want to hit in my life, and one is being a Dilf of Disneyland. But
You're not a dad, to be clear.
No.
You're like nowhere close to
He
that.
has a cat.
No, yeah, I'm a cat dad. But we'll get there. Anyway, so we were.
It sounded like you're like what? Like you're gonna fuck the cat.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like, right?
yeah.
We're gonna keep trying.
We're working on this.
One of these abomination babies will take.
Not a dad yet, got a cat. We'll get there.
So on the way there, Layton says to me, like, I always had this idea where you play of a game where you play as a dad and your goal is to meet and romance other hot dads, and it like the initial thing made me laugh. And I guess the thing we do at Game Grumps is that like, if something makes you laugh, that's cool. But if you keep talking about it and
Sure.
it just doesn't stop being funny, you're like, all right, well, how do we do this? So like Layton and I sat, like we were at Disneyland and we just spent the entire time thinking of like the sort of dads we wanted to date. And by the end of it, we had like a really good idea of like what we wanted to do with the game. So we just sat down and we started outlining the thing. And we started like building a pitch Bible. Layton's the art director on the project. She started doing like character designs, and then we showed it to the Game Grumps, and we're like, hey man, I think this is gonna work. And the Game Grumps, God bless their heart and souls, they were like, not only are we gonna like make this with you guys, but like we're gonna play several of the dads. So there's a lot of dad grunts in this game. So like Aaron's in the game, Dan's in the game, we got Barry in the game. There's a lot of like bunch of like strange cameos that I'm kind of like, I just don't want to tell people because I
Sure.
think it's gonna like, I think it's kind of part of the like the fun to like find out who the dads are.
Yeah.
Well, you want to get to know him. To
Yeah.
pick the right dad.
Yeah.
I want to go back a little bit. You're at Disneyland. You're talking about what type of dads you'd want. Tell me more about this.
Okay,
What
like,
type of dads did you
there-
guys
This is a
want?
great question. What kind of dad would we like to fuck?
Yeah.
Okay, so I will say right now that there is like a literal self-insert dad. That's just like my Mary Sue character. Like dating him is exactly like dating me. he's the hipster dad where you just talk about music that you like. And the more I wrote it, the more I realized that it was like, oh, actually, his name's Matt in the game. He's like, oh, this is a lot like my old roommate whose name was Matt and looks like the character in this game. So for the entire time of development, like I didn't realize that like
You just want to fuck Matt.
yeah, I just wanted to I was just wanted to date my old roommate. And then I was gonna tell him, and I was like, wait. The longer I wait to tell him, the funnier it's gonna be. So about a month ago, I was like, hey, like I was at dinner with my old roommate Matt. I was like, hey man, I helped make a game where we date you. He was into it, so
Of course he was.
So yeah.
Tim, what kind of dad do you want to date?
I mean, obviously, one that wants to be a DILF.
Yeah. Well, I guess the
Disneyland.
question on top of that is like, what's your dad's Sona, right? Like, what do you see yourself as a dad?
Because it's just as much about you as a dad as it is about the other. Now, there's a lot to be brought up here. Now, I'm just bringing up the actual reproductive side of it. But to be a dad, you need to have been a man with a woman. Unless you adopted. Is there other options here? Like, are we getting some crazy backstory dads?
There's a couple different backstories for a couple different dads. So like we kind of wanted to like try to encompass as much as we could within the game. But I think the best part about it is the idea that like I think we make the argument in the game like that being a dad isn't so much about a genetic link to someone as it is about like caring for someone else. So I think the big thing for this game, and I guess the big theme for this game is like, what does it mean to be a dad to another person? So like, and I think you see that in a couple different facets of the game.
Are any of the children of the dads dead? Is there a dad who has no real children, just the memories and sadness?
They all have children, and they do
that are
appear in this
alive.
game. Yeah,
That are
yeah,
alive.
Okay.
So, all right, I don't even want. I have so many questions, but it's like I almost don't want to jump around.
Well, I mean,
do you guys have ideal dads?
I think. Oh, dude. Oh,
I
man.
want my. They have to be an athlete. They have to be.
yeah.
They have to be.
Oh, we got sports dad for
They
you.
have to be into like playing hoops with me whenever I want. Getting real sweaty, like just posting up in the paint. That's my ideal dad for sure.
Ball is life.
Yeah,
It's a date.
Yeah, it's a date. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
just
yeah.
make sure,
Because we
just
can
make
go
sure.
on like cute like basketball dates, hooping dates.
Hooping dates. Is that what you call them?
Be hoops.
Okay.
I mean, I hate to say this more than anything in my goddamn life, but I just know it to be true.
You want to date Greg?
It's Kevin.
God, why
I
did
mean-
why did you have to say it that
Kevin,
way?
you got some paternal qualities.
Yeah,
here.
that's the thing. Is just I just need someone to take care of me. There's no one that's taking care of me in my life more than
Okay.
Kevin.
You're
Okay,
phrasing
no.
it so you could phrase it better.
Nah.
He wants to fuck
Nah.
Kevin. Tim
No,
wants
that's
to
the
fuck
thing.
Kevin.
The fucking is the one part that worries me.
Sure.
But that's what true love's about. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's like it's a little below surface level. You got to get in there. God, you got to get in
You
there
gotta
with
get
Kevin.
deep below. the
Yeah.
surface. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want a dad who owns a comic shop. That's who I'll date. Comic shop owning dad, small business owner dad. You know what I mean?
It's a small business
we
owner
could,
type,
we could
yeah.
go back to Jim. Are we selling coffee there? Can he help me? Can he help me with the library idea? I have this whole library idea for a comic shop, but it's not well thought out. That's the big problem I have. Vernon, what I think is interesting to bring up for this, because we're taking it into the weird, I'm bringing up the dead children and things to this effect.
Yeah, no, I walked into this knowing that it was going to get strange. Like I've been on your show before.
Your game is serious, yes?
It's a comedy. But like I think.
But you're taking this.
There's a heart to it.
Yeah. You know, like without spoiling too much, I think the cool thing about like the internet is like it's kind of impossible to tell a sincere story, to be like, hey, like this is a serious story. And I think that everything that we enjoy online is like this relationship of like sincerity wrapped in cynicism, where it's like, look at this dumb thing, but the more you look at the dumb thing, the more the more serious it gets, or like the deeper the box it's put in. Right. So like I think that when Leighton and I co-wrote this entire thing, we always kept that in mind of like, like when you look at it at first blush, it's sort of a silly premise, but like the more you get into it and the more we wrote it and the more we hope people play it, the more they'll see an emotional core to the idea of like what it means to like be a dad to someone else.
So the game is a dating simulator.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I'm a gamer. I don't know exactly what a dating simulator game is. What is the gameplay of that?
You didn't play No Hat Up Full Boyfriend?
I did not.
You don't want to date no pigeons?
No, no. So can you give the pitch on what the actual game is?
Yeah. So dating simulators, taking it all the way back, is like this phenomenon that started in Japan of They're called Otome games, and they're a lot like choose your own adventure novels that like takes stats into play. So
it's like a visual novel.
Yeah. So
School days.
Yeah. What was important to us was that there were a lot of choices in the game, and the choices you make affect how the dads feel about you, and sort of like the sort of like story path or the comedy you see in the game is dependent upon like how you react to things. So like we have this whole list of like Dungeons and Dragons style stats, like how Dungeons and Dragons has like intelligence and wisdom and dexterity. In this game, it's like dad joke and cool. So the answers you make like they go into like the dad stats. So and like certain dads appreciate different dad stats.
Very cool.
Dad stats.
Yeah.
Have you played Emily is Away?
No.
Have you heard of Emily is Away?
Yes, but I have not seen any gameplay of Emily is Away.
Okay.
Oh, thanks for watching our
Because I
content.
feel like
Real
Emily is
great to have
Away
you on the show.
is kind of like a dating simulator.
Kind of, yeah. No,
But-
you're right. Yeah, because you're making your choices and it's just text based through
Yeah.
I and Windows or whatever. But yeah, that's a good point.
In this game, do you just choose the one dad and then you're just kind of interacting with that
No,
one
you can
dad?
go
or
on a bunch
all-
of different dates with a bunch of different dads.
okay,
do they get
good.
jealous of you dating the other
Play the
dads?
field.
No,
huh?
they don't actually. They're very supportive of each other.
Excellent. Excellent.
But each dad sort of has a unique story path, and each dad has a variety of dates. And it was important to us that like it was not only a dating simulator, but there was like dad themed mini games in it.
Okay.
So
That's weird.
yeah, well, there's
What are the minigames?
Like there's one where you play you meet Brian, who's your rival dad. Like,
Goddamn.
yeah, I know.
He's your Gary, I guess.
I suppose so. But yeah, he's your like you run into him at a park and he starts bragging about his child, and you're like, oh, now I got to brag about my child as per like the dad Concord.
Sure.
And then it battle wipes to a Pokemon battle where you brag about your kid.
Oh, nice.
So that sort of stuff. Like without spoiling too much, there's another one where you're on a date with a dad and you're like, I know how to fish, but you don't actually know how to fish. So it's like a Bejeweled style mini game where instead of matching like orange diamonds with each other, you're matching like fish that look alike. And all the fish look alike because you don't know how to fish. It's just like it's just a really like a system of really just complicated dad jokes.
It's similar. It sounds like it's similar to Night in the Woods, where
Very much so, yeah.
where it's it's not a side scroller, right?
No. It's sort of like
But-
traditional visual novel,
Got it.
but like the idea of like making choices in dialogue options is
tons
there.
of tons of conversation, and every once in a while it's a Guitar Hero style minigame,
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
a whatever shooting style minigame, and it pops up once and it goes away. Is that
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah, but they're like it was important to us that every one of those mini games hopefully is like a gag or like a funny dad joke that
Okay.
you can enjoy.
That's cool. I like that.
So now that you're dads,
Yeah.
then how do you know you're nailing this?
Wait, what do you mean? How do you?
Like, how do you know? Like, what does it mean to be a dad? Like, I feel like you're lacking the perspective
deep.
of the dad.
Oh yeah, it was. We did a lot of exploring in terms of like storytelling for
body-
this
oh.
one.
You got a lot of consultants.
Yeah, we talked to a lot of dads. I work with a dad. He's like Brian Wecht, Ninja Brian.
Oh, is that how
Brian
you
Wecht,
pronounce
PhD.
his last name?
Wecht, yeah.
I never knew how.
Yeah,
I was just
But,
assumed it was that.
wait. Actually, can I bring Leighton on? I think
Sure.
I think her, because okay.
Leighton's
so,
the dad, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay,
Take my seat later.
Really quick to like I don't know to preface all of this, like it's the idea that like this is a really interesting writing and creativity process because it's sort of the idea of like there's so many stories that like I personally don't know how to tell just because I haven't lived it, and I think a lot of the creativity, like the creation of this game, was like trusting someone to know something that I didn't know. So partnering up with Leighton here to write the entire thing and to like sort of conceptualize the entire story, like I don't know, man, like fuck, Leighton, you can talk. Leighton's the future. She's
Hi.
got this.
So yeah, like neither of us are dads and neither of us are gay men. Do I need to be closer to this?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why Kevin
Okay.
actually woke up and
Great.
did some.
I'll just get right on it.
Have some fun, Kevin.
So like I'm pansexual and like I am really tired of the same narratives about LGBT communities like over and over, just like we're like here's a cool character and now they're dead, or like this one side character shows up for 5 minutes and like but they're gay. And
Inclusion.
I'm just, like, yeah, like I'm really so tired of us like begging for scraps essentially. So it was really important to me that we got this game right, and so we consulted with a lot of different people and dads, like actual men who love men. Like it was really important to us that we got this right. Like it's a silly game, but obviously it's something that needs to be approached with a lot of sensitivity and a lot of care. And I really want this to be a lighthearted fun. Like, we just have so like little like silly queer media. And I think that after all of this, like, we deserve to have something like fun and funny that makes you laugh and that also is like a sweet love story. So, yeah.
Did you expect the Game Grumps to take it on? Because I mean, like, when you guys, for me, it was, you told me about it coming out, Vernon, that it's coming up, and then you guys started teasing that we're making a Game Grumps game.
Yeah.
It's not what you think. It's not what you think. Like, were you, number one, did you think they'd be behind it? And then number two, what did you think the audience reaction?
Yeah, like Game Grumps was so cool in the fact that like I don't know, man, like it's such a creative collective there, and there's a lot of like believing in each other and like trusting each other to know what each other's doing and like supporting each other's works, and everybody's doing something there, like where Aaron and Dan have Starbomb with Brian and like and Dan and Brian have Ninja Sex Party, and then there's the Game Grumps Live stuff we're doing, and then Ross is working on a cartoon, and Barry's working on his own like interesting stuff that I don't even know if I'm allowed to talk about yet.
Go ahead, just tell him. Go ahead, it's live, no big deal.
But yeah, so like when myself and Leighton like brought the project to the Game Grumps, like it was so cool to see how supportive and trusting they were with us, and sort of just like how much they believed in the project. So it was really, really cool to have their support, and I think like what was important to us was to make not something that wasn't necessarily like a game about the Game Grumps, as it was a game like with the same sort of humor as the Game Grumps, and I think that's just a really cool thing to work on with like I guess it's a media company now. Like Game Grumps is like we're just making stuff, and we didn't want to limit ourselves to just making things about the Game Grumps, but seeing what we as creatives can do inside of this like creative collector space.
And did you think the audience was ready for that? Like, did they understand what they were getting into?
Yeah, initial response was actually like, it was like overwhelmingly positive, and then the thing just sort of like took its own legs, and like it just started like, it's still like it's 2.5 weeks after we initially announced, and I'm still flabbergasted about like how quickly like people just sort of like held up or like appreciated this thing that we made. It feels.
Yeah, we're like currently stuck in this weird limbo of like these 3 weeks between announcing the game coming out, where we are like finishing the game, gauging response, and like a lot of people are really excited about it, and we're just like, God, it's not out yet.
Yeah,
like, we want people to like it so bad, but it is just like such a strange space to be in.
The game means so much to us, and we're so excited about it. And like us and the entire team of developers that have been working on it. Shout out to like to Tyler and Jory and Greg and everyone else in the office right now whose eyeballs are bleeding right now while we're having a good time recording a podcast. I'm so sorry, guys. I hope you're all right over there.
We love you very much. Please take care of yourselves and drink water and eat food and stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But yeah, it's just I don't know. We all believe in this game so much, and we hope that when it comes out, people like will love these dads as much as we love these dads.
Now, Leighton, how does this start? How do you meet Mr. Vernon Shaw over here?
We are longtime internet buddies, as like I have a lot of internet friends. But Vernon, back when Hot Pepper Gaming was first starting, I like watched a lot of Game Grumps, and I like found Hot Pepper Gaming through that. I watched a bunch of it. I'm an illustrator, so like I drew a lot of fan art and tweeted at them, and we just kind of like talked a lot over time. And then a couple of years ago at MagFest, which is like that music and gaming
Hot
convention.
Pepper Gaming was doing its like
awesome.
very first panel. And we had all sort of been like huge fans of this. Your name was like Butlet at the time on Twitter. We were like, oh yeah, dude, Butlet does great art. Can't wait to meet her in National Harbor, Maryland. And we were doing the panel, and we found you, and like I yelled at the guys. I was like, oh, Butlet's here, guys, Butlet's here. And then we were like, oh hey. And then several years passed.
Yeah, several years passed, and here we are making a game. So.
And then my next question is, how old are you, Leighton?
I'm 19.
God, I hate you.
I turned 20 next month.
It's too late. No, you're 19 now. Doesn't matter. How does that make you feel, Andy?
Oh, it feels like shit.
Yeah, right.
Sorry.
Sucks so young, making a cool game.
No, like
Everything's awesome.
Like, I think there's only so much I personally know of the internet, and I think when you make stuff for the internet, there's just things that you can't know. And I think the cool thing about making the internet is that you get to collaborate with people who know things that you don't, and like putting a lot of trust in someone to like understand a community of people better, or understand the side of the internet better than you do is like, God, it's a really empowering thing. Just like find people to work with who know things that you don't know. It's just like such a cool thing, as I'm sure you guys have experienced in the past.
I think what Vernon is trying to say is that my whole life I've spent way too much time on the internet. So I have a pretty good understanding of what the cool teens like, I think.
It's true. It's true, yeah.
So yeah, like, and I think also just coming from the perspective of like, I, along with a lot of other people I know, just really want to see more fun queer narratives. And like, it was the thing that we wanted to make. And I think kind of drawing off of like the internet sense of humor that's like more of this like sincerity wrapped in cynicism, but also like extending that and not just this being, you know, full of memes, because we even have a joke in the game about it. Like, if you make a game and you try to put memes in it, like, just because of how long it takes to make things, like, that's going to be so outdated by the time that it comes out. You're going to look like an idiot. So it is really just like understanding the cultural climate of the internet, and like I am really fascinated by the way these spaces are run, and like how much of that is being like a lot of the really cool stuff that we see now, and like the way that we interact with each other is like really defined by young people on the internet.
Yeah. And the really cool thing about that is like, I don't know, man, like the internet it's not to get too like fucking navel gazy about this
Do
stuff.
it, man. You're on the internet talking about
That's
that.
all
What's
we
up,
do.
dads?
I don't know, man, like so much of the internet is like ephemeral media. Like it's meant to be consumed and then it disappears.
Sure.
And that's just how it is. And the challenge with making a game like this is how do you make something that like, that is made for people who use the internet but doesn't disappear after a week. So that was a big challenge in writing it.
Yeah. Do you think you did it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm 100% confident in this, like the writing of this game. I think it's the best work I've ever done, and Layton's ever done. I hope people will enjoy it.
So what's the release schedule then?
It releases on July 13th.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So
Which
there's
is
a
in
date.
3 days.
Yeah,
Oh,
Thursday.
man.
Yeah.
By the time majority of people listen to this, it's going to be live.
Oh, wow.
Where can they
Okay.
check it out?
Oh, it's going to be on dreamdaddy.biz.
Dreamdaddy.biz.
Yeah, I paid literal money for that domain name.
And you can follow us on our really, really good dad Twitter, which is @DreamDaddyGame.
Guys, it's so fun to tweet as a dad.
It's so great. I love being a dad. It's the best.
Because like
I love all of my
all you are
children.
just like super like excited and positive, and like someone will tweet you a Dream Daddy cosplay, and you're like, I don't know what it is, but you tried so hard. And I'm so proud of you.
We got to meet cosplayers at AX, and like they were
gosh,
two
that messed me
creds,
up,
and
Layton.
they picked Vernon up, and Vernon won't stop yelling at the cosplayers like, "You came from my brain!" Like,
That's a weird thing to
It's
yell
an old
people.
Patton Oswalt gag, but yes, like shaking a cosplayer and saying you came from my brain was not something that I thought I wanted to do with my life, but now that I have it, I'm so happy.
Be happy.
Have you been surprised by how people came to it in flocks? And you talk about how it was positive. Were you expecting it to be negative? Because I mean, you are like, hey, video game world that's already
like
touchy.
It's I don't know, like you. I think it's hard for any creator, right? Like making something and putting something that means so much to you and hoping that it means so much to other people. And like Lane, like the day before it announced, like we were just both going crazy.
we were on Skype because I was back home in North Carolina, and we were just on all night. Like, oh my God, here's all the worst things that could happen when this gets announced. Nobody's gonna play it, and everyone's gonna hate us. And we were like stressed watching like episodes of The Office and 30 Rock,
Yeah.
just like kind of paying attention, but mostly just freaking out. And then the moment that trailer went live and we saw the comments rolling in, like it was a really stressful day. But like we did a lot of math on this. Like there was a lot of intentionality put into how like we were going to market this and like what all of the little shareable hooks are. And I feel like an asshole saying that stuff, but we did. And like we knew that like some people were going to like it. We were not expecting this at all.
Yeah, that so many people would like it.
Yeah, we were getting like I just get like new fan art tweeted at me like every couple of minutes, which
Fucking
is
crying the whole
bonkers.
time, like,
yeah,
yeah.
lots of crying, heavy crying. But it's amazing, and like I would never have expected that. And like just that there were cosplays within hours,
Yeah.
and then there was like porn within more hours.
Hell yeah. there
Wait, no,
was.
porn game came before cosplays.
All right,
Porn always comes
I
first.
checked.
yeah.
Man.
But yeah, like when I designed all the dads and all the characters, like I wanted to make sure that they were really like easily and cheaply cosplayable, because it's like you have a leather jacket, you got a red shirt, you got sunglasses, you're good to go.
Yeah.
So it's been really exciting, and I'm really excited to see more people do cosplays, and it just really warms my heart that people are excited about it.
Is there a fat dad that I could cosplay
Yeah.
as? Good. All right,
Amy
good.
Bryan.
I feel like there's not enough fat characters in the game world anymore.
Or you can be a player dad because you can change the body type.
Yeah, you were walking me through creation this morning.
Yeah,
Looks really
it was,
cool. I like that it looks like, first off, like Saved by the Bell in terms of layout, but it's if Saved by the Bell and Persona had you know,
that's a big shout out to our UI designer Greg Batha,
Greg
who's
Batha, you're the
it's like a rock star, man. Like this, I don't know, man. Like it I don't ever want to like look at this game as like as a solo experience. Like I don't ever want it to seem like the Vernon Shaw show, even just the Vernon Shaw Leighton Gray show, because like there's so many people who held this project up and who sort of like helped carry the torch or helped push this thing forward. And like Game Grumps were the initial ones to say like, hey, let's actually go and do this. And then you know, like we brought on the game director Tyler Hutchinson, and then he brought on Joy Griffiths, who was the junior developer, and then we had this like entire army of amazing art. Like, it's all a fun fact. Like when you pitch like, hey, like we want you to draw hot dads, you got a lot of people wanting to do art for you, which was very, very nice.
Yeah,
we got so many cool people.
Amazing, because like I was just like, okay, cool, are all my favorite artists, great, draw dads, please. And like I want to give a really big shout out to like the Shannon Pei, who's at Epsy on Twitter. She is the most amazing artist. She did all of the character art for the dads that you can see in the game, and she killed it as usual. Yeah. So like please give her a follow. She is an incredible illustrator, and I will like sing her praises forever because she's like the very best.
So this game, how long are we looking at? Like, what does a playthrough look like? Is there an actual ending to it? Do you see people replaying as different dads?
Yeah. So there's multiple endings. If you're romancing one dad, like start to finish, it should be about 2.5 hours. Then there's 7 dads, and multiple different endings per dad.
And also depends on how fast you read or how fast you play the mini games.
It was sort of like living in the Let's Play world and doing Hot Pepper Gaming, working with Game Grumps. Like it was important that this was a game that people could share with people, like that people could play on a live stream and have a good time with, and like find different jokes about, and like discover little secrets. And there's dad death states, just so you know. I just wanted to.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So have fun finding those.
You really fought for those.
Yeah, I really fought for those.
Can every dad
Lots
die?
of discussions about that.
No, and it's you. Like we wanted to put on some like some what is it King's Quest style, like
Yeah.
couple of those. So
Love it.
Sorry, like if you get mad, that one's on me. I will take full credit for that.
And then has the internet has been great about it.
Yeah,
Has there been the normal? People are mad, or they?
Yeah, I mean,
That's how the
gay
internet
games,
works.
yeah, like what we realized that like we can't make everybody happy, and that's just sort of you know, like as by your existence as an internet content creator. But what we can do is like make something that's important to us and show it to people and hope people like appreciate that. So while we can't please everyone with this game, or while we maybe didn't get it exactly right in everything that we did, I really stand by this creation and I believe in it so much.
Yeah, and like honestly, there's no such thing as perfect representation. No matter how hard you try, like you can go in with the best intentions and you can still slip up because we're people and people make mistakes, and that doesn't mean that you should stop creating, and like you just need to keep like learning and growing as a person and trying harder and making things that reflect that.
Yeah, we're gonna make this game and then we're gonna learn from it, and then hopefully if enough people like this game, we can make the next one.
Yeah.
When you put on
Dream
beta?
dads go to Disneyland.
I've been sending some emails, man.
When you do it, make sure there's a platinum. They'll tell you no, but you have to tell them no, we want it. And they'll do it.
Sorry, what's the platinum?
It's a trophy. It's very important to folks like me. I'll do your trophy list for you. I'll take that off you. I hope you. I'll play extensively this PC version only for you. Only for
Thank
this.
you. Thank you.
Because I wouldn't touch one of these things else I'm doing my taxes otherwise. But I'll do it for you to get this trophy list ready.
Oh geez. Yeah, guys. Oh, thanks so much for. Sorry, it's really cool to like see you guys after like a year and a half of not being on the show, and then just be like, oh, my friends are
I got
here.
something cool.
Sorry, I
Let's
had
do
like
it.
a wave of like good vibes. Just then I needed to let that out.
Was this always your plan to go make a game, or did this just happen?
It just happened.
Okay.
I think you keep your I don't know, man. Like as a person, I think I'm a creative person. I
would say so. I'd venture to say so.
Yeah. I just want to make stuff, man, and like I think that's all of us sitting at this table. We just want to make stuff, and it's just finding the way to get something made. And I think we're living in a cool era where you don't have to just be the person who directs things, or you don't have to be just the person who makes videos. Like you can find like different disciplines to discover creativity. And this one, I feel so honored because like when I made Hot Pepper Gaming with my friends. I was just like a fan of video games, and when you move into the creator world, you start sitting at tables with people like you respected or currently respect.
You used to respect them until you met them.
But yeah, so like you start being in the same rooms as these people you respect, and like you find out that like you affect other people the way these people affected you, and like this just sort of like. Sorry, I'm getting like too flowery right now, but just like the like you're putting yourselves into the rooms with these people, and you're encouraging creativity around a fucking virtuous circle of like, look at all us making shit, and you get to keep doing it. And that's such a cool part about being a creator, is that just keeps happening.
Yeah.
Creative shit.
And then you,
Yes.
Leighton.
Yes.
You always wanted to make games? Was that what your plan was?
I think it's something that I always knew I wanted to do, but never thought would actually happen. Like, you know, it was something where as a kid, like my friends and I would sit on the playground with notebooks and like draw up plans for like, oh, here's a fun little level and like, here's how this works and this works. And like, I've been going to art school for like sequential art and learning how to draw comics and stuff. And I think I'm just realizing that what I really care about is telling stories. And nice. If like I would really love to learn more about the technical side about making games. And like, I don't know, just like as long as I'm making stuff that tells a cool story, that has good art in it, like I'm cool with doing whatever.
Cool. Now, Tim.
Yes.
We're going to do your topic, which you told me plays into this.
Yes.
Before you do that, I want to tell everybody, this is the GameOverGreggy show, if you didn't know. Each and every week, 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather around this table, each bring a random topic discussion for your amusement. If you like that, head over to patreon.com/kindafunny, where a few bucks will get you early access to the show so early that if you give us $1, you can watch us record it live, just like so many people on Twitch are doing YouTube are doing right now. If you have no bucks to toss our way, no big deal. Head over to youtube.com/kindafunny, where we post the entire show topic by topic, day by day, until it goes up as one big video in MP3. You see what happened, Andy, is that Tim got so into the topic before we actually started the topic just started. And I couldn't stop the train. The train was on the tracks.
It was a really good
Got
segue.
into it.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
So now what's your topic, Tim?
So my topic is advertising and marketing.
Yeah.
So
I thought we were going to be talking about Coke and stuff. And they're like, no, it applies to the game.
it applies very much to this. So my thing is, when we think about marketing and we think about advertisement, I think a lot of people quickly jump to, oh, that doesn't work on me. Mm-hmm. You know, you think it's like, oh, why would HP buy the HP Pavilion? Like, what's the point of them having their name on a place that Jay-Z performs or like whatever sports teams do their sports stuff?
I've heard of those.
Like, yeah, exactly. Yep. Or like when you see a commercial on TV, it's like, what's the point of this? Like you see Super Bowl, right? It's like, oh, it costs this much millions of dollars for a 30-second spot. If you're not doing something funny or whatever, like what's the point of spending that much money? Like what's the actual conversion rate for people buying that product? And you start thinking like, there's no way that'll work on me. And I feel like, and then you see it with podcasts, when you see like with us talking about Blue Apron, MeUndies, or whatever those things are. It's like so
worked
many
on Trevor
people
Starkey
in the comments would be like, why are you doing this? Like, we obviously don't care. And it's like, my thing is I've put a lot of thought into that over my life. And I'm like, it must be working because it has never stopped. It's evolved and changed over time of where they put the thing, but it's still a smattering of just, if we say it enough, people will listen and people will know. Sure. And I've started to think, I'm like, well, HP, having the HP Pavilion, when I think of HP, I think they're a big deal, right? Sure. I think that alone adds a sense of value to them, where you're like, when you're thinking about computers and you hear, oh, HP versus something else, you're like, oh, well, HP, I at least know them, right?
Yeah, it's brand recognition.
Brand recognition. And then when you go further than that, when you go to the Blue Aprons or whatever, it becomes more of like, all right, if one person does, and they're like, oh, I actually really like this, I use this, they tell someone else, and it kind of goes from there. It's the recognition actually turned into recommendation, and it goes further. And like, all right, cool, that starts to make sense. But where we're at now with the internet and with all these things that you brought up earlier, these social hooks, I had a conversation with you at E3 about this game.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've talked about it before on the GameOverGreggy show of how Hot Pepper Gaming works and why you made it the way you did, which is very shareable and very, you don't need to watch every other episode for it to make sense. Every episode could be its own quote unquote viral hit, right? And you can go forward from there, but you can kind of design things with marketing and advertisement in them to help them expand and help them get out there. And what I'm so impressed by with the Dream Daddy dad dating simulator, is that it made it everywhere, right?
Yeah.
You didn't need to pay for advertisement anywhere. You obviously are coming on your friends' shows to talk about stuff that put in front of our followers or whatever. You have the Game Grumps tweeting about it and all of the Rooster Teeth people tweeting about it and stuff. And obviously it reaches a point where it's just a lot of people talking and it's people aren't listening because of retweets. People retweet things every day, right? So it's like, it hits a point where it's like, okay, what does an actual retweet mean in terms of the click-through rate is what we call it in the biz.
In the biz.
I mean, there's a lot of
air quotes you're using.
But I mean,
Wow,
there's a lot of asshole words being used. But really, though, what impresses me is it's not just one thing or the other thing or paying the money. It's the combination of all of it. I've seen this game on Kotaku, on Pitchfork, on
that was my favorite one.
BuzzFeed, on like all these sites that are very different than each other, and they're all in completely different verticals in some cases. And I think going off of it, I'll let you explain this better, but Pitchfork is the one that impresses me the most.
Okay, I didn't expect that one to be a thing, but I guess to sort of go back of like, it's not I don't think it's a nefarious thing, but what we did when we made this game was like we thought about the idea of like, you know, like going back to Hot Pepper Gaming, the idea of shareable content. Like how do you create something that one person wants to share with another person? Because like you can spend as many marketing dollars as you want on certain things, but at the end of the day, like if someone doesn't see that and share it with someone else, like you're kind of like dead in your tracks.
What was the point of it?
Yeah. So like you know, like even like from day one of Dream Daddy, a dad dating simulator, like we saw like ways to sort of compress the idea. Like the more you can compress an idea, the further it will travel online. So like even in the title of Dream Daddy, a dad dating simulator, the acronym is DDADDS dads, which is just a dad joke in itself. So like that, we sort of like when we were making the game, me and Layton, we went forward with that ethos of like, how do you make things that people can screen cap and share with other people? Like how do you write about this game or talk about this game that is designed so that like someone could see that and then someone could tweet about that because the easier it is for someone to explain the game, the easier it is for them to share it.
And like, I think what's important there is that it's a lot of stuff that is organically shareable as opposed to, you know, you see a trailer for a movie and it's like, come see this movie, it's the best. But if your friend comes to you and is like, hey, I saw this movie and it was awesome, like you're going to trust your friend on that, like more than you would trust anyone who's like directly trying to market to you. And so it was a lot of like seeding things into this game that we know that people will want to share with their friends and that hit a lot of different like interests and senses of humor. And like, it's been really interesting to read replies to, you know, the announced tweets and stuff because people just like tag their friends and are like, this is so you, which I think is really, really interesting. And also just like the elevator pitch for this game, super short. It's one sentence.
You play as a dad and your goal is to meet and romance other dads.
Like that's super shareable. It's exactly what it says on the tin, and it's, you know, that sets up an expectation of what do you think it might be, and then I hope that when people play it, they'll see that. You know,
I want to go on saying this that like the stuff like people haven't downloaded this game yet, and like all we're talking about right now is math. But I think we did like I think what we've done so far, like I think that's like sort of like proof in the model, I suppose. But also, we're going to see what happens when like people actually play and see if they enjoy the game.
Well, what's interesting for me is the fact that it's the first game I think that I've heard described, and granted, I think it's because it's indie and it's all these different things. And so there's less, you know, corporations and powers that be on top of you telling you what you can and can't say. But it's you guys talking about it in a very frank way of like, Vernon knows the internet, and he in terms of like how the YouTube works and how sharing content there works, references to come together and be like, we're putting this stuff in there not because it's a hook in terms of traditional advertising, because we know how people consume things on the internet. We are students not only of video games, we're students of the internet. We're the culture, Twitch culture. Yeah, exactly. And I think it's what I always talk about when I harp on the trophy thing. And not in the joke sense, in the fact that it's always this disconnect of the developer doesn't understand what it's like to be the player, and the player who does want that kind of reward.
Yeah, it's interesting for me thinking back to when I was at IGN, and it's like, all right, cool, 8 million subscribers, and how are we going to make a video? Especially when I was like, all right, I know that I have this audience I can put something in front of. How do I make something that I think is super cool, but what can I change about that will get the most sizable part of that pie chart to at least be interested in watching it. And then it's like, okay, how can I get them to then click it? And then how can I get them to share it? Yeah. And it comes down to obviously headline, thumbnail, all those things we've talked about.
But I think that you saw like the more you sort of like included your own personality in the topics, like the more real it felt, right?
Yeah, it's like making the thing that you want to make, or we've said this over and over, pitching this game is like you make something for 10 people on the internet, like really specific, and like that resonates with people because they see how true that is to those 10 people.
Yeah. And it makes them want to share because there's if you're like that, and this is the BuzzFeed mentality that we've talked about so much, it's like if you're like this, the reason that they have so many videos called, 10 reasons you are this, or you're this when blank, it's because if they're that, someone else is that, and then they'll share that and it'll keep going.
Like, it's literally the basis of memes in general. Like how many memes are like,
my face
here's this thing that I only thought that I did, but actually everyone else also does.
Exactly.
Like things are so much more universal than I think people realize they are. And it's so great because the internet like lets you see like, oh, hey, everybody else does this
Going
too.
back to the Pitchfork thing, because I think this is what the whole topic spurred from is, so Pitchfork is a music website. It's kind of a music blog.
It's
very
sort of like
hipstery, like this is what you should be
listening
to. Exactly, type shit.
Look at me.
But that's a huge audience of people.
No, look at me, the hipster
version. It totally is.
I thought you were going to say you're describing Pitchfork.
No, man.
Because it was funny.
I'm Pitchfork's demographic.
No,
we were at dinner last night. He's like, and the write-up in Pitchfork. I was like, yeah. I was like, I have no idea what that is. I don't know what you're talking about.
What's cool about it is Pitchfork is not video games at all. It is very like hipster music site, right? And what's cool is you got run up there because you had an indie hipster band that you personally like involved in the game, and that was the hook there for them to write about.
I like that one. Okay, so there's things that are funny to me and things that are funny to other people, and I think I do my best work when you get that center of the Venn diagram of like things that are funny to me and other people at the same time. This gag was just like, this was like, I can't believe they let me put this in. But one of the dates takes you to a concert hall with Cool Dad. It's called the Soundgarden. There's a lot of puns in this game, a lot of dad puns. So you go to the Soundgarden with Cool Dad for a pup show. And I was like, I was like, Pup and I follow each other on Twitter. Like I'm friends with their record label. So I was like, this is real dumb, but I'm just gonna ask them. So I asked them, and then we licensed a song for them, and then we drew them into the game. And I didn't think that was gonna be big enough to get on Pitchfork, but I think it was such a strange thing that it ended up there. And like that wasn't even like there's another shareable thing on top of that I can't, like, I'm hoping people find out when they play the game. But I was like when I figured out that, I was like, all right, I finally justified how much money we paid to get that in the game.
You told me that last night. I don't want to say what it is.
Yeah,
but it's one of the most brilliant things you've told me about that game.
Thank you. So I didn't even expect to get like a Pitchfork feature from that, but I'm so glad that it did, and I think it's just like that's what the battle tactics are.
Yeah,
right? Like,
and
just
that's what
find
I'm
ways for
saying. A
people to share
testament
things.
to the beauty of thinking outside the box for marketing and advertising is that when you do that, you actually get results. Because you could pay sites like bigger music sites to cover it, and then sure, they cover it, but no one would give a fuck because no one cares. It's not real. Whereas Pitchfork, you didn't do it to make sure that happened. You did it because you wanted to, but then you made sure that you pitched Pitchfork the right way. You told it. You didn't just say, "Hey guys, we're making a dad dating simulator." They would have just discarded that email. Yeah. But you instead said,
the thing
hey,
is, we
way.
didn't even reach out. Oh, I didn't even reach out to them. I don't know if someone did, but they reached out to Side One Dummy, their label, and they were like, we want to know more about this. So like, it was cool that like it came back to us, even though we didn't expect it to come back to us.
Well, I think that's again back to what I was talking about, right? I feel like you guys are doing this from the ground up and taking all the knowledge you know as fans and then industry people to put it together and make something that
I hope so, man.
Works
like
together.
I'm hoping it works.
Well, I think the reaction you've seen so far, I think, shows that it does.
And even talking about things like you were saying that you designed the characters with cosplay in mind, like that's something that our friends at Rooster Teeth, like they talk about with Ruby so much, where they're like, we made sure that we designed characters with things that are recognizable and that they have multiple outfits, and there's the casual version that can be made so that when they go to conventions, you just see an army of Ruby people, and it's like that is marketing in itself, because there's nothing more like off-putting when you're at a convention and someone's like, "Who's that?" and you're like, "Oh, I don't know."
Yeah.
Like you always feel like you're supposed to know.
Yeah, and also from a fan art perspective, and also just like I wanted to make sure that everyone had a dad that they felt like they could relate to, or a dad that's like, "Oh, that's me," or "That's who I want to date." But also just like from a design sense, like color blocking. Each dad has a very distinct color scheme, and like just a lot of really specific things where like no matter what form you're seeing them in, it's like instantly recognizable of, okay, that's Dream Daddy.
I feel like this has got to be, I know we throw it around a lot, but like how you make an independent game in 2017, right? Of like, you can't just put something out and then expect it to get found anymore because there's so much stuff happening.
Yeah. And you also can't not think about the factors. Sorry, I keep forgetting parts of this conversation, but I was so impressed by it because, so the Pitchfork thing, you ask the band to be in the game, they are and whatever, but then you also are like, but wait, if we have licensed music in the game, that's going to cause problems for Twitch streamers.
I can't talk about that one just yet. That's I want people to find out about that one.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry,
shut
man.
up then.
Oh man, it'll hopefully be a good reveal.
I know there are like so many other things that I want to talk about that are like very seated shareable things, and there's so many of them, and we can't talk about any.
Yeah. But that's so smart, right? I mean, that's the whole.
My point is, you're thinking about it.
Yeah. We're so in the weeds with this stuff, but like, it's I think that in this day and age, like the challenge is that like statistically, there have been the most amount of Steam games that exist on Steam were like published in the last year. So you're up against so many things, and right now I think as a creator, and we see this on YouTube as well, is like it's not enough just to be good. Like there's just like an ocean of good ideas that nobody has seen because nobody has shared it with anyone else. So I think the challenge is when you're a content creator on the internet or for video games or for music or TV or like whatever, it's about being good and shareable. And I think that's the big challenge of how do you make it those two things.
And it's something that is always changing. Like you have to be so up to date on like what is happening on the internet. Like I step away from the internet for 3 days and come back and I'm like, I don't know what's happening anymore. I'm out of the loop. So like putting together a long-term plan of like what works, and especially like, we made this game a year and a half. Most of the work was done in the last like 10 months. I would even go so far as to say is in the last 6 months. And like, it's like I can't even imagine games with a longer development period, trying to stay relevant and on top of things and still be
trying to like juke the ephemerality of the internet.
Do you see that happening though? I mean, Vernon, you've got such an interesting take because you're a YouTube content creator. You worked in Maker, which the MCN. Of course, you were worrying about analytics, how to advertise, all these different things. RIP. And then making video games now. Do you see it being something that'll be like? You know how eventually every great idea on the indie scene will eventually go up to a AAA. Do you see that being a thing where EA and all these other people are going to have to start sitting there and actually do this?
I think so. I think like you always, the fear is the sameness, right? Like it's like the blue ocean market theory versus the red ocean market theory. Like when you're combating sameness, it's just not something that people can share, and I think you can only exist on IP for so long, or like beloved IP, and like that's always going to be a thing, and there's always going to be a market for that. But like if you're breaking in with a new thing, or if you're trying to make something big that people can share, I mean you're already seeing it now. Like PS4 has a share button. Like Screen has like Steam has screen capture right there. In
so
it.
Does the Switch, right? Which I thought was super crazy at the first time.
There's a dedicated button to it right now.
Yeah.
So I think even AAAs are seeing like the fact that like these games live or die by people talking about them, and it's not just about whether you have a good experience sitting down on the couch and playing a game, but whether or not you're having a good experience sharing your own experience with those people that you like, those people in the same community as you.
So do you think it's similar to the way of, I always talk about it, it's always interesting, this generation who are making video games now who grew up with Mario, right?
Yeah.
And so then their games are so drastically different in their own personal experiences and all these different gameplay. And to think about the people who are going to consume Neil Druckmann plays NES and makes Last of Us. Somebody's consuming The Last of Us right now and is going to make X. Do you see that being the same way in terms of advertising and marketing games? Do you think there's the people who are growing up right now who are going to go into advertising, marketing, and then try to go in and then be like, I represent Coke, Pepsi, whoever, and I want to put that into this and have a reference in this game?
Yeah. I mean, like I'm not the only person doing this. Like we aren't the only people. We aren't the only people like looking at games from this perspective. And there's gonna be people like smarter than me who are gonna crack this code faster than me.
Totally. I'm excited for that. Like I'm really excited to see where marketing and using the internet to market goes beyond just like stuff that's clearly not working.
Because a banner ad and the side thing.
Because I think what's the interesting thing is like people are realizing like it's the sincerity of marketing something or being excited about something and caring about something that really. It's like 2 years ago, like memes were about being sad, depressed, and suicidal, and like that's how people related to each other. And then 2 years later, like there was sort of like that pushback to it of like, oh, let's make things wholesome now, and like let's care about each other and let's just be nice to each other. And like it's so cool to see the evolution of a culture like that of a community of people appreciating sincerity. So like to see like it's going to be interesting to see where advertisers and marketers like try to relate to that or try to make something in that same vein. Yeah,
because like you cannot manufacture that sincerity, and people can tell a mile away when you're being disingenuous about it.
Sure. But Tim, as somebody else who's been on the internet forever and consumer forever, do you see brands being able to do that? Because what about being sincere with marketing and advertising and doing all these different things? There's such a fine line that is Dream Daddy, and then on the other side, the Kylie Jenner giving a protest person at Pepsi.
I just think there needs to be someone that cares, because the moment that there is a person within that corporations are the big evil corporations until it's like, no, this is someone that genuinely cares and actually wants to be this. Going back to me at IGN. IGN is this big corporation, me wanting to make something different and thinking that way. I think that's all it takes. I feel like the Kylie Jenner thing is an example of traditional marketing teams, right? Not an actual like trying to get into things in a different way. And I know that if you're talking about, I feel like nowadays Coke would be potentially involved in indie games in a much more meaningful way than Pizza Hut was in Crazy Taxi.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great game.
KFC.
Great. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I got a question for you guys. So what was the strategy behind, let me start that sentence again. Whenever I put something out, I try my best to make it as easy for the consumer as possible. Like you were saying of the dumbing it down to just the simplest thing. But I like saying, here's the thing, click here to do it.
Yeah.
So it's one message. What was the strategy of announcing the game and then having it come out later? Like
Just
why
be
not
stressed?
Why not do that at the same time?
To stress us out the most, I think. But no, really, I think that it's letting people get excited about it and for that hype to build, for people to speculate what the characters are going to be. I mean, the teaser trailer is just the silhouettes of the dads, and that was an intentional thing. It's not like we revealed the lineup. Like if you click on the links of like DreamDaddy.biz or you go to the Tumblr, you can see the lineup of the characters, and like from the silhouettes you can compare and see what their names are. And like it just really encouraged a lot of speculation over what it's going to be, and also just fan content. Like I think
community building, really.
Yeah, like half of the things that I play or watch now, like I find because artists I really like are making fan content and doing cool fan art. And I think that that's such a good like shareable hook for people, because it's just like a friend telling you to watch something, but like, you know, here's this cool art that's like probably this person like inserting some things about the game or movie or whatever that's interesting. So like obviously dating sims really do encourage fan content like that, because at a certain point, like, you know, you can only cover so much in a dating sim. Like it's pretty much like, oh, this is the confession of love or the beginning of the relationship, and that's where everyone else can jump in with fan fiction and fan art of, you know, whatever their ideal pairing is. But like if you look at something like BioWare games with like Mass Effect and Dragon Age, I know of so many people who are just like really prolific fan artists for those things, and like that is such a huge shareable hook of like, wow, who's this like hot elf guy? Like how can I get into that? And I know also a lot of those same people like only play BioWare games because they're interested in the romances and the relationships. And I think kind of catering to this market of people that's like a lot of young, I hesitate to say women on the internet, but like I think it's largely like young women who kind of grew up like with a little bit more, you know, with the internet. Like as a kid, I played a lot of video games, but I didn't have any like older friends or siblings who were like, here's Zelda. Like I just played a lot of stupid whatever movie tie-ins my parents would buy. And then when I got into high school, I watched Let's Plays. So I think it's this like really interesting culture where it's a lot more accessible to people who, you know, might not have come up like through a traditional, like, here are all the seminal things that you play. And like all of my friends play video games. So I think these people, like young people like me, are like really interested in like story games and narrative and like relationships and dating sims. And I think like catering to that, I'm interested to see how that goes, I guess.
Canonically, is there one true pairing?
Ooh.
I'm not touching that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you want the comments to get that bad? No, we love all our dads equally.
All of the dads are absolutely, yeah.
All right,
Yeah, man.
When's dads come out?
July 13th.
3 days.
Yeah, so Thursday of this week. Oof.
Get hyped.
Yeah.
Get hyped.
Yeah.
All right. Thank
Cool.
you so much, Leighton, for sitting down with
Thank
us.
you so much. Yeah.
Now we're going to move away from advertising and video games for topic 3, which is Andy Cortez's. Welcome back, Andy.
Yeah.
I kept trying to make eye contact. I kept trying to make eye contact with you over there.
Yeah?
Because I was going to ask you to rub my back while the other topic was going on. You know what I mean?
okay.
And for the record, Andy, you're my dream dad.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was thinking about Dream Dads. I just thought of 2 of them.
Okay.
Ones that I would really love
That
to,
you would date or that you would be?
that I would love to date.
Okay.
Yeah. Dennis Quaid.
Yep.
Oh, Dennis Quaid is actually a great
He's just
dream
like
dad.
he's just a dad, right?
Does-
Actually, we haven't started topic 3 yet. We're still, this is a
Okay.
great point, actually.
And then,
wait, let's talk about Dennis Quaid for a second.
Wait,
though.
does Dennis Quaid come attached with Randy Quaid? Like you got to see him at Thanksgiving?
no,
or-
no,
okay.
no.
Well, I mean,
Randy-
maybe you'd see him at
I
family
love
events, but that's kind
Randy
of
Quaid has a great Twitter.
Yeah.
Great Twitter.
well, Randy Quaid's the one who thinks the government's after him, right?
Yeah, he also he has a giant beard now.
Cool. I'm down with that.
He just recently was somewhere where he was near a giant tank and he was like coming after you, North Korea or something like that. Very weird, very weird.
But Dennis Quaid.
Dennis Quaid seems like, salt of the earth father.
Yeah,
like, he seems like he'd be
absolutely.
really good. Or do you remember when they
The
did that?
rookie. We use the
Of course.
picture.
Do you remember when they did that fake viral video with him where he quote unquote lost it on set? And it just happened on like a Monday, and then on Tuesday they released the rest, and it was all a tie-in. That Monday though, I was devastated.
I remember.
no.
I did
I
not
don't remember that.
That was during the Gauntlet season 2.
Oh wow,
Down
yeah. I
in
just did
Austin.
not want to believe that Dennis Quaid would be that man,
That he was a
and
jerk.
he turned out not to be that man. And he raised a fine son, of course, in Jack Quaid that we know, Sasquatch sketch. So there you go. You can tell that he'd be a good dad because he raised Jack real well.
And then Denzel Washington.
I would gladly date Dennis Quaid and be Jack's stepdad. Now you can move on.
And Denzel Washington from Remember the Titans.
See, I didn't like him in that movie.
What?
I liked Remember the Titans fine. But he was kind of a dick. You know what I mean?
No, but like, did you see the way he was with his family? Like, he was a great dad, dude.
But I remember him
What are you fucking
more.
talking
I remember
about?
him more from just being a dick coach. You know what I mean? I didn't like his coaching.
No,
didn't like his
he
coaching.
had to be a dick because, racism was happening and shit. So he had to, like, show the people who wanted to be racist, like, hey, I'm not taking that shit, all right?
Sure, no, that was a good.
Like, I'm here to be a good coach. And, yeah, he was kind of a dick to the other coach because he got kicked out or whatever.
Yeah.
But the way he treated the other coach's daughter and his own daughter, like, he just, man, what a fucking solid dude.
The other coach's daughter, Hayden Panettiere. Right?
Yeah, Hayden Panettiere. Yeah, that's right. That's
Next
right.
time you're thinking about masturbating to her, remember her from Remember the Titans, and you won't, will you? Because that's how it is. Every girl's a daughter.
Topic 3. Nice.
Every girl's a daughter.
Dads.
Don't tie that back in. Please don't.
July 13th.
Okay.
What's your topic, Andy?
My topic is, when...
I already love it.
Hold on. I gotta find my
Denzel
stuff.
Washington. I just saw him in Fences. You don't want him to be your dad from that. He was very bad dad.
He
in
looks
that.
very intimidating.
Bad dad.
Yeah, very angry.
I like Denzel Washington a lot, but I'm struggling right now to think of heartwarming Denzel Washington roles because I'm thinking of Fences, Training Day. Thinking,
I'm John Q. or
yeah, but even then he was very angry. Denzel Washington's often
he was
an
angry for his
dad.
kid though.
Man on Fire.
I'm King Kong,
angry.
motherfucker. What was that? What was that word? Yeah. What else was in
Philadelphia. I mean, he was a lawyer.
He was
with
a good
heart of
lawyer.
gold.
Great lawyer.
Yeah.
Solid lawyer.
Good man.
I'll come back to your topic. On this. So Denzel Washington's the topic?
Yeah, well, no.
Dubs.
It's similar to that. So, when things that could have happened didn't happen, and you always think of what could have been.
Yeah. I'll
So-
never forget her.
So, Bubblicious
Oh, Jesus.
recently.
Oh yeah.
So, Bubblicious there was a ripoff brand called Bubbaloo, and they have jelly inside. Yeah, I don't. Never mind. We're not gonna do the gum topic. We'll do a different topic. Movies where actors turn down roles,
Ooh.
and you think about what could have been, right? So some notable ones, really interesting for Pulp Fiction, where they wanted Michael Madsen to play Vincent Vega, right?
But Travolta took it instead.
But he couldn't end up doing it, so they were like,
like,
Travolta,
"Oh, damn it."
a strong second chance or a strong second option, right?
and that put his career back on track.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Then we got
but
Broken Arrow.
One you all probably didn't know. This one is really, really interesting.
Drop
The
that
way
heat.
you're delivering it is like you're going into an Andy joke, but I know this is serious.
It's
Like
not.
this is
It's
your
very,
real
very-
topic.
It's very, very serious. Bad Boys. The original options for Bad Boys were Dana Carvey and John Lovitz.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm
Instead of
really
Will
happy
Smith
that
and
didn't
Martin
happen.
Lawrence.
I don't like that one.
So
Yeah, I don't like
before
that.
Michael Bay decided that he wanted to make a movie that people would actually want to go see, Bad Boys was intended as a vehicle for comedy actors Dana Carvey and John Lovitz, both of whom were renowned for their work on NBC's Saturday Night Live. At this point in time, the movie was called Bulletproof Hearts.
Oh, I thought it was just gonna be Bad Boys, but with an S instead of a Z.
Less ethnic, yeah. The movie was called Bulletproof Hearts because for some reason they really, really, really didn't want to make money at the box office. Except somebody decided that Bad Boys shouldn't star Carvey and Lovitz at all, and Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, the notable characters, were cast as buddy cops Mike and Marcus, respectively, transforming the series into a far hipper, more crass and violent venture than first intended. So I guess it was going to be more like...
High School High.
Yeah. Man, wow.
Yeah, my
High
love,
School High.
my Lovitz drops are on point today. Thank
High
you.
School High. Holy shit.
I don't remember High School High. Which
High
one was
School
this?
High, where Lovitz was a teacher, right? And
it was like a Dangerous Minds parody,
It was
yeah.
a parody of Dangerous
Oh
Minds.
God. Okay. I feel like the last time
Sort
I
of
was
like
like
Scary
able to
Movie.
watch. I feel like me and John Lovitz were in at the end of Furious 7 and pulled away right about Rat Race. Where I was like, we gotta go our separate
Rat
ways.
Race,
Fuck
though.
Rat
Yeah,
Race.
real good. What are you talking about? This show?
What are you talking
Man.
about?
God, I'll tell you what. Don't get me wrong. You know, I've learned a lot in my days, of
Yeah.
course. You know what I mean? Where we talk about this a lot. Where okay, people on the internet just don't like Greg Miller, and I'm like, oh, that kind of sucks. I try real hard, and I understand my cup of tea. You shouldn't hate me. And so I've gotten over that with other people. But let me tell you what. If I'm lying, I'm dying, Tim. Back in the day, I fucking hated Mr. Bean.
But why?
I fucking hated Mr. Bean. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did see it.
Mr. Bean ruled, man.
Yeah, when he'd come on, because he was on Comedy Central every so often with the fucking Mr. Bean garbage.
Yeah, doing his thing.
And you'd watch him like this creepy fucking skeleton motherfucker. Get out of here. Because you ever seen like in the horror cartoons,
Slender Man.
the horror cartoons, those like dancing skeletons or whatever.
Yeah.
That's Mr. Bean when he's dead. Right now he's alive and he's doing the weird goose stepping stuff going down chimneys. And I'm not about that life. I don't want. I know. No. I'll tell you where the turning point for Mr. Bean, of course, Love Actually. Where I was like, well, this picture is just wonderful, and I can put up with your shit here. But I think I matured into not hating him.
The scene at the end of Rat Race where they're all crowd surfing to Smash Mouth's All-Star didn't do it for you? He's next to Whoopi
It's weird
Goldberg.
how that like that definitely just came around to being cool again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
No,
very
man, Rat
as of
Race will
very
never end.
recently, like it's cool to
Crowd
crowd surf to Smash Mouth All Star.
Oh, sure.
From the Astro.
I think
movie.
Guy
Fantastic.
Fieri has something to do
LP.
with it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Guy what?
Ferrari.
Fieri.
That's what I said, Ferrari.
Other roles. Let's see here. I'm just scrolling through the internet.
Yeah, I was going to say, where's this from? What are you pulling this from? You're just reading an article.
No, well, those articles I'd heard about on a radio segment a long time ago, but I knew that I wanted to make this to a much bigger topic because there are a lot more roles. So Will Smith was originally set to be Neo in The Matrix.
Yeah, they approached him. I remember hearing about this.
But he turned it down for Wild Wild West.
Terrible.
Yes, he did. Good for him.
I'll swing for Wild Wild West.
Yeah. At the very least, we got the song out of it.
There was some. I remember him getting.
Willie
I've
Shaw,
seen an
man.
interview with him where he got it, and he had like the most honest answer to it. Where he was like, "Yeah, I turned it down because like you're in the real world, but it's not the real world. And the real world's this, and I'm bald, and I don't know." And I was like, "Yeah, of course." That's a weird. That must have been a weird script to read. And be
So
like,
could you imagine Will Smith as Neo and the first option for Morpheus, Sean Connery?
Oh.
Yeah.
I can actually.
Yeah,
That'd
I would
be a
be
good
way
picture.
into that
That's a
movie,
good
yeah.
picture.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
that.
it's not too. I think we're about the right time to
Reboot
reboot it.
time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like gritty reboot.
Sure.
So around that time, he also turned on the role. Not around that time. They're saying, having apparently not learned anything, Sean Connery also turned on the role of Gandalf in The Lord of the Rings.
All
I
right.
mean, he just
That
don't want to
would've
work
been
that
baller.
hard. You know what I mean?
I just
I mean, Sean Connery doesn't need to go out. I
just want a couple days
He
off,
wants
I
to make
guess.
Entrapment 2 with Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Hell yeah.
Remember Entrapment?
Kevin, don't cheer on Entrapment.
No, I'm with Kevin on this one because that was the trick, right? Where it was like, all right, James Bond is back in a movie,
Yeah.
whatever. All right, we're all prepubescent, maybe right at
Yeah.
puberty. We're 13, and you see they did the whole thing where they like
Kevin-
he's
yeah,
training
Kevin's
her to
in
go
there.
over lasers or whatever, and like the trailer was literally just her ass, and you're like, all right, we got nothing else to do Saturday afternoon. Let's go. And then 2.5 hours later, like fucking beat me to death with this chair.
I thought you were saying you were gonna beat off in the theater.
No,
Okay.
Jesus.
Okay.
2.5 hours later.
So instead of Steve Carell as Michael Scott is supposed
Like,
to
are
be.
you in the 30-second review persona? Or
Instead of
It's hard to read.
Instead of Steve Carell as Michael Scott, it's supposed to be Paul Giamatti.
That would have been much
Oh.
more serious.
Yeah. I mean, well,
Right.
I mean, have you seen Paul Giamatti as Rhino?
Yeah, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That was
one
a
of his-
classic.
One of one of his best roles by
Yeah,
far.
no, definitely.
Mel Gibson was supposed to be Gladiator.
All right, whatever. No.
What? What's your problem with Gladiator?
No, with Mel
Oh,
Gibson.
Mel Gibson.
I just
Okay.
watched again What Women Want. It's one of those where I caught the end on TNT and then it's rolled over real quick into, well, it was actually, I think it might have been the end on HBO and then Jen turned on HBO Latina or whatever and it was all like, it was in
What Women Care.
Spanish. Yeah. I watched a bit of that and it was like, man, I don't miss Mel Gibson being in every movie because he was in every movie for a while.
That's one of the few movies that I remember, like, because I was like, what, mid-90s, late 90s?
Yeah, it's one of those, yeah.
That's one of the few movies that I actually remember the trailer for.
Sure.
Like, I remember him doing his
Mel
thing.
Gibson.
Yeah.
Every little thing she does is mad.
I don't know. It was just very, very weird. That was a
Was
weird
he in
time.
You've Got Mail?
No,
No, that
Tom
was Tom
Hanks.
Hanks.
Tom Hanks and Meg
Yeah.
Ryan.
Speaking
Yeah.
of Tom Hanks.
Here we go.
Oh, hey.
He was going to be
Podcasting.
Superman.
No, John Travolta was supposed to be Forrest Gump.
Man, they wanted to put Travolta in every picture for a while.
Well,
Man.
I mean, after he turned it around with Pulp Fiction.
Sure. And then he
Why
just,
wouldn't you?
Yeah, he kept going.
Why wouldn't
No, I
you?
know this. Tom Hanks was set to play all the clumps in Nutty Professor, right?
What?
Yeah, it's just different Tom Hanks playing the different clubs. It was remarkable for the time.
It was they were ahead of their time. Michelle Pfeiffer was supposed to be in Silence of the Lambs.
That's Clarice?
Yeah.
I swear, the way you're delivering it is so much like the 30-second Andy.
Jack Nicholson was supposed to be Corleone in Godfather.
Really? Michael?
The Godfather, I guess.
Oh, he's supposed to be Marlon Brando?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And that doesn't time out. That time doesn't work at all.
That's
no.
not right.
He would pastemagazine.com.
He would have been the Al Pacino character, no?
Okay, well, tell the website, all right, Greg?
Oh, maybe.
Email them.
Maybe he was going to do the De Niro role in Godfather 2.
Oh, you know what? Okay, hold on. Whoa.
Here we go. Hold on. Breaking news. He
He was supposed to replace Al Pacino.
was. Okay, thank you. I was right.
Yeah. Well, no, you said
You
De
said
Niro.
Robert De Niro.
No, remember,
You're Michael.
I started
Same
actually
person.
with Pacino, and then and when you're like, no, I was trying to bail you out, try to get you onto the track here.
Can you imagine
Here we go.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off with
no.
Sir Johnny Depp? Is he Sir?
No.
No, he's not.
Yeah,
He's
no,
very
sir.
He's
American.
not been knighted?
Very American, isn't he?
Not been knighted?
Honestly, I think he could have done it.
Yeah.
Back then,
Like
This
as
is
Matthew Broderick's character.
pre-Captain
Ferris
Sparrow.
Bueller. Yeah.
We're good.
As Ferris running through the
Yeah, I
backyard
can
and all
see
that,
that.
junk.
Because
Yeah.
the thing is, this goes back to GameOverGreggy Show episode 2,
Oh, my God.
where we were trying to decide like who's cooler, Marty McFly or Ferris Bueller, and it's like,
Marty McFly.
well, it was a whole discussion. I still stand by.
No,
Ferris
okay, because
Bueller-
it was Ferris Bueller because Marty McFly for some reason thought that Huey Lewis in the News was punk rock.
Yeah, and also that he just hangs out with old dudes and he's only cool because he has a time machine. Like, period.
Is
Fucking
the
period.
Warped Tour punk rock?
He's got
Is it Warped Tour?
skateboard skills.
That's a long
Does it have-
conversation. It
does
has
it
has
have
punk
skateboard?
acts in it.
Thank you so much.
It's not a punk show.
It was at one point.
Yes, it is.
It is. Jeff Ramsey agrees with me, and he's more punk than all of us put together.
I don't think that there should be gatekeeping on punk rock. I think that like more things should be like I will say that like man, be punk is whatever you want punk to be, man.
Sure. All right, the Michelle Branch is punk. There you go. That's
Fuck
what
yeah!
you, that's
No,
what you
I
just want
crowd
to happen.
surfed at a Michelle Branch concert once. I
Yes,
shit you
my
not.
man,
I
my
kid you
man.
not. I was
my dream dad.
Yeah, no, I was at
Warped
Sun
Tour?
God Fest. Yeah, no, Sun God Festival at UCSD several years ago. I was in the crowd for Michelle Branch. I was a little drunk, and I said, you know, it'd be funny right now if someone crowd surfed to Michelle Branch. So I looked at the biggest guy I could see, and I was like, bro, I'm going up. And he's like, bro, you're going up. And then I went up.
And everybody helped?
Yeah.
Good.
For a certain amount of time.
Tim, we're going. We're going to see Michelle Branch a week from Friday. Don't
Yeah,
forget.
we are.
Double date.
I
So
just saw that on the calendar today, and I was like, oh shit, this is a real thing.
it's happening. Oh
Pretty-
yeah, it's
pretty
really
stoked.
happening. It's really happening.
Can you imagine?
But,
Can you imagine Dirk Diggler wiggling that big dong in Boogie Nights, but it's not Mark Wahlberg, it's Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yep.
Because he
I can't
admits
imagine
that
that.
his biggest regret in his career is passing on porn star Dirk Diggler in the 1997 film that chronicles the golden age of porn. Boogie Nights.
now, correct me if
I
I'm
don't
wrong
know.
too. Would
Leo
that
sounds too young then.
would that have
that would be
snuffed
perfect.
out? Would that have snuffed out Wahlberg's career? I feel like that gave him a big jump, right?
Definitely.
I want to give that one to Wahlberg. I feel like he deserved it. He worked hard for it.
Yeah.
I feel like Leo had Titanic around there. He didn't need any extra help.
Can you take yourself, okay?
Hey, moviegoers, hot tip here.
Transport yourself to when Casino Royale is coming out, and
Oh,
they're
okay.
bringing back James Bond. This James Bond character we all know and love, as Hugh Jackman.
Ooh,
That would make Nick's freaking dick melt.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be able to handle that.
because he likes Daniel Craig and he likes.
Well, he
Hugh
loves Daniel
Jackman.
Craig though. Maybe he wouldn't.
No, but he likes James Bond so much that there's a lot of worlds melding there.
He likes Hemsworth more though.
He doesn't though. This is a classic Nick flip flop.
Oh, gotcha. I
If
see.
there's one thing, Nick's never consistent on anything he says. Like Nick would, he had an altar to Hugh Jackman for. Oh God, don't even start. He's not going to answer now.
He's.
Yeah, he might.
I think
He just blocks out this time. He doesn't go
He
anywhere.
just blocks
he
out
just
this
goes.
time.
I think he went. Did he leave already?
Hello.
Hey, Nick, it's Greg. How are you?
Good. How are you, Greg?
Good. You're on the Game Over Greggy show. Andy has a question for you.
Yes.
Nick, can you imagine transporting yourself? What movie were we talking about?
It's Christina Raya.
Can you imagine? Take yourself back to when Casino Royale is coming back because it's coming out, right? You love James Bond, right?
I
But
do indeed.
instead of Daniel Craig playing the role of Jimmy Bond, it is replaced by Hugh Jackman because Hugh Jackman turned down that role.
First off, don't call him Jimmy Bond. Nobody calls him that. Second off, that would have been amazing. That would have been amazing, actually. I would still support that, actually.
Now,
he needs something else to do now. He's not the Wolverine anymore, so I would support that.
Now, Tim says that you like Hugh Jackman more than Liam Hemsworth.
Everyone likes Hugh Jackman more than Liam Hemsworth. Nobody likes Liam Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth, the other guy, the other white guy.
I like Hugh Jackman as an actor. Well, I like them both as actors. Body type-wise, I think Chris Hemsworth is better looking with his shirt off than Hugh Jackman because he can pack on more muscle. I like the bulk look of him. It really draws the eyes down to the pelvis section.
Good.
I think is important.
You should have been on the first two topics.
Probably. I mean, I guarantee I would have done a better job than, were you on those topics?
All right, man.
Okay, guys, one last one.
Here we go.
Yep.
It's like he walked out there and got bopped on the head, and he can't turn off the Andy character.
No, the thing, like I feel like there needs to be like glasses as props. Like, hey, movie fans,
Inside the Actors Guild.
No, studio.
That's what I said.
let him go.
Yeah. Back in the days of In Living Color,
Oh yeah.
this bright star Jim Carrey starts coming up, right? He's doing his Fire Marshal Bill. He's doing his...
Wait, give me his other very famous In Living Color character.
what else was he in Living Color?
The white guy in every sketch.
Okay, yeah. So, Tim Burton is like...
Is this what it's like to work with me?
Yeah, it is great. It really is.
So Tim Burton says, I want to make this Edward Scissorhands movie with one Jim Carrey.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Now, how would that have changed that whole fucking path where he wants...
To be serious.
where
He wants to not have scissors for hands.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so much here.
where Tim Burton wants Johnny Depp in every fucking movie.
Oh.
Right? Think about that.
Oh, that
could've
would
changed the
have
course of
created
history.
like a butterfly effect. Of
Yeah.
like, it's not Helena Bonham Carter. It's give me
Jenny
a joke.
McCarthy.
Give me a joke here.
Who was the
Give me a joke.
Jenny McCarthy.
Who was the girl that Jim Carrey was like weirdly obsessed with?
In real life?
Yeah.
Married?
No, well, he was married to her. Didn't
Was
he marry
he?
her from
And he
Dumb
made
and
a lot-
Dumber?
No,
Yeah.
no, he made a video about Emma Stone once.
Emma Stone.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Oh.
It was really fucking weird.
Weren't they in a movie?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. There was this is one of those things I probably should not be saying live
Sure.
on a podcast
Yeah.
because
Here we go. Lay it out.
research.
No research.
No
Fact
research.
check's totally wrong. Somebody please correct me.
Just,
But
fucking
I remember
reckless.
the year was 2008. I was sitting back at my old house on my computer. It was probably 3 a.m. I was procrastinating doing some college essay or some bullshit. And then I saw a trending thing happening of Jim Carrey gets hella weird to Emma Stone. And I'm like, I gotta click on this. I started watching the video and it made me uncomfortable.
I feel like she hasn't been out for that long.
But I mean, this was like,
2008.
yeah, man. It was
How
a
young
long-
was she? Like
don't know.
19?
But
18?
it was creepy. The whole thing was very creepy. He was very emotional. He might have been crying.
Maybe he was in character.
No, dude.
Like
this
when he
was like too
crashed
real.
the MTV
So give
Movie
me
Awards.
your stats again. This is 2008. This is happening.
2008.
All right, cool.
Emma Stone.
Article here from June 19th, 2012, where Emma was flattered by the video, and then it says in late August, the 50-year-old funny man posted a video on his website in which he expressed his feelings for the Amazing Spider-Man star.
Yeah, 2008 is way too early, dude.
So that's-
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Strokes are on the
2011.
radio.
2011.
You know what?
Yeah.
I must be talking about something else then, because I was at my old house and I moved in 2009.
And
so-
you were creeped out by something on the internet.
I was creeped out by
Okay.
Jim Carrey making a video towards some girl. It might have been pre Emma Stone.
Oh, here's the video.
It wasn't this.
It's 2011.
Then what are you thinking?
I don't know.
If
Do you
it's
think
not,
he's-
if it's not the video,
I think
where
I'm
he's-
crossing stories
Is
here.
this like Jim Carrey in 23 where you start seeing the number 23 everywhere?
No.
Wait, Vernon, do you think?
Hold on.
Tim is in.
Stop.
He's got it. He's got it.
I
Shut
got
up.
it. I got it. I got it. I am so wrong about everything. That is the video. I did not watch it at my old house at 3 a.m. to procrastinate.
so wrong.
I watched the movie 23 at my old house at 3 in the morning. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. We got there, ladies and
Greg,
gentlemen.
come back.
We got there.
Greg, it's gonna be all right. We just made a joke. I thought you were stuck in the other timeline, the butterfly effect. in this other alternate timeline where Johnny Depp was not Edward Scissorhands.
See, now what I
Carrey
jumped
took
to
over.
there is I said he'd be more serious movies. And you're like, no, I meant it because like that. Remember, Jim Carrey kept trying to make more serious movies instead of just exactly. Well, yeah, that and then the
Dick and Sally,
Majestic.
or whatever
Majestic.
that was.
No, I think that was still goofy, wasn't it?
Majestic wasn't bad. Majestic.
Yeah, but I remember like it was that thing
Yeah.
like they weren't performing like his comedies were. That was
Yeah.
his big problem. And I think Scissors Hands was like such a weird movie, right?
Oh, Eddie
Jonathan
S.
Scissorhands. Yeah.
Yeah. So the other roles that were considered were Robert Downey Jr. and Tom Cruise.
RDJ.
RDJ.
Yeah, the best.
Well, that was when he was in party mode, right?
Yeah.
That was when he was in party
he was in
mode.
party
right?
mode.
Yeah.
Every
Absolutely.
Tuesday on Patreon.
Every subscribe $1 early. You get party mode early.
See, I'm
It's a show
surprised.
version.
It's fun that you
Oh.
brought this up. I like this because you see that and you picture it, and I love as a Back to the Future fan when you get to watch that old Eric Stoltz footage because you know how they cast him as Marty McFly and filmed a whole bunch of the fucking movie, and they
Still
were
didn't
like,
finish it.
just didn't work.
I didn't finish
Oh,
it.
you didn't finish it? You're an idiot.
We left halfway through.
Yeah.
So Greg and I went to that viewing at the Alamo. No,
Nope. The Balboa Theater.
the Balboa Theater, and so we go to watch a viewing of Back to the Future, and I had never seen it before because it was just always like a movie I always missed.
Andy.
And
He also has
fucking
he's
asshole.
Never eaten macaroni and
And
cheese.
Kevin.
He's never eaten
Kevin.
he's never eaten a corn dog.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Or at McDonald's.
we were at the airport, and Tim was like, "Man, I love corn dogs," and I was like, "Actually," and Tim was like, "Don't you
Don't even
dare
fucking tell
say
me."
it." Yeah,
He said,
Oh,
"Don't you
because
fucking dare."
every time I come on this podcast, like there's this because like last time it was like, oh, like Tim's never jerked off lying down.
that was
Yeah,
weird.
That
I
has
remember
changed.
listening to
That has
that.
changed.
I remember
Yeah,
listening to
high
that.
five.
That
There
was
you go.
such a weird like revelation.
But corn dogs. Let's talk about that.
Never eaten a corn dog. Never eaten mac and cheese. Never eaten a Big Mac or a Whopper. But just to finish out my story, we went to go watch Back into the Future, and then they had a fucking 30-minute intermission, and I was like,
To bring
I'm
you up to
leaving.
speed on this, it was a San Francisco / Anchor beer event where you were given 3 free beers to go
Nice.
there. So I think it was like, hey, go buy more beer. Piss also. We understand that. Way too long. We all went home.
30 minutes. Yeah,
I was like, I've seen Back to the Future. I've enjoyed a night out. I don't need to be here.
Yeah,
also,
no.
now, Kevin, real quick before we switch to topic 4, I want to tell you the corn dog conversation comes because at the Alameda County Fair, they had corn dogs that were then covered in crushed up hot Cheetos.
Excuse me.
crushed hot
Oh,
Cheetos.
shit.
Crushed hot Cheetos. Yeah, you can
Wait,
go to
before or after dipping?
before. If you
So it was
the
like
batter.
embedded?
it was the
Yeah.
batter. Yeah.
Yeah, it was baked in.
That's beautiful.
That's good. I think what I want to make for you, Kevin, is I want to make chicken wings and crush up the spicy Cheetos, put them
I've
into
seen
the
that
thing.
a lot on the internet.
Yeah.
and
Greg.
I would love to try that.
I would eat that.
I'm telling you guys, when we made that mac and cheese with the gourmet mac and cheese
Sure.
with the hot Cheetos, it was a game changer.
Sure. Spicy Cheetos go pretty much with anything.
Don't
you
call
know?
them spicy Cheetos.
I knew it was going to get you
I
mad.
hate you.
I had another joke I was going to go with, but that was good enough. I was going to say they go with
Cheeto
everything.
red things.
Yeah.
Cheeto code red.
They go with everything.
Cheeto code red.
Except your urethra.
Oh my
Topic so topic 4 is my topic. There is required reading that I will read aloud to all of you. But before that, I want to say thank you. Here are all the Patreon people who have supported us and done it. It's down there more.
That
there
guy?
You go. There you go.
That
oh
woman?
man,
It scrolls up.
Matthew Silverfish.
Wait, are we scrolling up?
Yeah.
We're scrolling up. He's making the magic happen.
All right. So I'm gonna read this. You don't. This is if you want to read along. It's gonna be a long one to read.
Do you want to popcorn
So
it? or-
stick with me, everybody. No, we're not popcorning. We're gonna be serious. So
Is this like the intermission when we go pee?
if you need to, yeah, this is a long topic because it's a long speech here to read.
Okay.
But last night,
Here's what I'm going to do. I do need to go pee, so I'm going to go pee, but I'm going to read it while I pee.
thank you. Well, you don't need to read ahead. It's just for like when we discuss it, you might need the paperwork. I'll still read it to you and the viewer and listener at home. So here's what's happened. Last night, Andy, I'm flying home from Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
I decide.
I was with you.
I know. But you don't know what I did in my seat.
Oh, do I want to know?
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
So I start playing some games here and there. Try the Splatoon. Try Cave Story under your recommendation. Yeah. Doing all these different things, but it's one of those where I'm tired. It's been a long weekend of working, right? Nothing's hitting the spot to play. I'm like, how about some of that inactive entertainment? And I do the little Virgin America, swipe my card, get in. What movie do I want to watch?
Yeah.
Let me tell you. Pitiful movie selection this time
yeah?
around. Nothing I really want to watch. They got that Dog's Purpose movie in there.
That
I'm like,
trailer played nonstop.
I don't need to fucking do this. I don't need to cry on this plane, bawl on this plane next to my wife. Actually, next to my wife after she met my ex-wife. A story for another time. But I find 20th century women on this. You remember this trailer?
No.
Annette Bening. It's her movie. She's about her raising her son, and the trailer makes it seem like she's going to team up with these other two girls to raise the kid, right? And it's coming of age.
When did this come out?
70s story. I mean, it's a new release on rental, so
Oh,
within the
okay.
past year. I'd seen the trailer enough though, because I go to Alamo so much. It's one of those A24 movies.
Oh.
And I was like, it looks interesting, but I don't know if I'll ever get out to see it. Watch this movie, fall asleep during it, part of it. It's very much like, this is just some shit happening in our lives. And I'm like, all right, I'm fine with that. I like the characters enough to keep going. But at one point, they're doing this in the 70s. She's sitting there, she has all these people over, and they're watching a talk from one President, Jimmy Carter. And it's his speech. And it's the speech that would be known as the crisis of confidence speech. Are you familiar with this?
No.
Anybody familiar with this?
Negative.
All right, so it's on July 15th, 1979. It's this long speech, and it's pretty much the president saying to America, fucking get it together. Like, everything's fucked right now, and I need your help. I can't do it all alone, because they're having the energy crisis at this point, right? And people are still being wasteful with electricity, not doing their part, all this different shit. And not to mention, oil prices are going crazy.
Yeah.
There's all this crazy shit happening. So I've cut out sections from the front and the end here, right? So like I put ellipses in there. But I'm going to read some of this, and we're going to talk about it, okay?
Got it.
Here's where you strap in, kick up your feet, pour yourself a drink at home. If you're in the car, pour yourself a drink, but just be
Pull
stealthy
over
about it. Just be stealthy about it.
Road sodas.
But after listening to the American people, I have been reminded again that all the legislation in the world can't fix what's wrong with America. So I want to speak to you first tonight about a subject even more serious than energy or inflation. I want to talk to you right now about a fundamental threat to American democracy. I do not mean our political and civil liberties. They will endure. And I do not refer to the outward strength of America, a nation that is at peace tonight everywhere in the world with unmatched economic power and military might. The threat is nearly invisible in ordinary ways. It is a crisis of confidence. It is a crisis that strikes at the very heart and soul and spirit of our national will. We can see this crisis in the growing doubt and the meaning, growing doubt about the meaning of our own lives, and in the loss of a unity of purpose for our nation. The erosion of our confidence in the future is threatening to destroy the social and political fabric of America. The confidence that we have always had as a people is not simply some romantic dream or a proverb in a dusty book that we would read just on the 4th of July. It is an idea which founded our nation and has guided our development as a people. Confidence in the future has supported everything else: public institutions and private enterprises, our own families, and the very Constitution of the United States. Confidence has defined our course and has served as a link between generations. We've always believed in something called progress. We've always had a faith that the days of our children would be better than our own. Our people are losing that faith, not only in government itself, but in the ability as citizens to serve as the ultimate rulers and shapers of our democracy. As a people, we know our past and we are proud of it. Our progress has been part of the living history of America, even the world. We always believed that we were part of a great movement of humanity itself called democracy, involved in the search for freedom, and that belief has always strengthened us in our purpose. But just as we are losing our confidence in the future, we are also beginning to close the door on our past. In a nation that was proud of hard work, strong families, close-knit communities, and our faith in God, too many of us now tend to worship self-indulgence and consumption. Human identity is no longer defined by what one does, but by what one owns. But we've discovered that owning things and consuming things does not satisfy our longing for meaning. We've learned that piling up material goods cannot fill the emptiness of lives which have no confidence or purpose. The symptoms of this crisis of the American spirit are all around us. For the first time in the history of our country, a majority of our people believe that the next 5 years will be worse than the past 5 years. 2/3 of our people do not even vote. The productivity of American workers is actually dropping, and the willingness of Americans to save for the future has fallen below that of all other peoples in the Western world. As you know, there's a growing disrespect for government and for churches and for schools, the news media, and other institutions. This is not a message of happiness or reassurance, but it is true. It is the truth, and it is a warning. These changes did not happen overnight. They've come to us gradually over the last generation, years that were filled with shocks and tragedies. Ellipses. Looking for a way out of the crisis, our people have turned to the federal government and found it isolated from the mainstream of our nation's life. Washington, D.C. has become an island. The gap between our citizens and our government has never been so wide. The people are looking for honest answers, not easy answers. Clear leadership, not false claims and evasiveness in politics as usual. What you see too often in Washington and elsewhere around the country is a system of government that seems incapable of action. You see a Congress twisted and pulled in every direction by hundreds of well-financed and powerful special interests. You see every extreme position defended to the last vote, almost to the last breath by one unyielding group or another. You often see a balanced and a fair approach that demands sacrifice, a little sacrifice from everyone, abandoned like an orphan without support and without friends. Often, you see paralysis and stagnation and drift. You don't like it, and neither do I. What can we do? First of all, we must face the truth, and then we can change our course. We simply have to have faith in each other, faith in our ability to govern ourselves, and faith in the future of this nation. Restoring that faith and that confidence to America is now the most important task we face. It is a true challenge of this generation of Americans. One of the visitors to Camp David last week put it this way: we've got to stop crying and start sweating. Stop talking and start walking. Stop cursing and start praying. The strength we need will not come from the White House, but from every house in America. We know the strength of America. We are strong. We can regain our unity. We can regain our confidence. We are the heirs of generations who survived threats much more powerful and more awesome than the challenges that face us now. Our fathers and mothers were strong men and women who shaped a new society during the Great Depression, who fought world wars, and who carved out a new charter of peace for the world. We ourselves are the same Americans who just 10 years ago put a man on the moon. We are the generation that dedicated our society to the pursuit of human rights and equality. We are the generation that will win the war on the energy problem, and in that process, rebuild the unity and confidence of America. We are at a turning point in our history. There are two paths to choose. One is a path I've warned about tonight, the path that leads to fragmentation and self-interest. Down that road lies a mistaken idea of freedom, the right to grasp for ourselves some advantage over others. That path would be one of constant conflict between narrow interests ending in chaos and immobility. It is a certain route to failure. All the traditions of our past, all the lessons of our heritage, all the promises of our future to another path, the path of common purpose and restoration of American values. Ellipses. Little by little, we can and we must rebuild our confidence. We can spend until we empty our treasuries, and we may summon all the wonders of science, but we can succeed only if we tap our greatest resources: America's people, America's values, and America's confidence. Which path do we take? And that was after another. Oh, no, that's me. I'm sorry. Then there's more to the speech, but again, it's about what's happening in the moment. Now, to be clear, going back to where this all spawns from, I watched a movie and it popped up, right? It was literally 2 seconds of there where he's like, it's a crisis of confidence. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's reflected then with Annette Bening's character being surrounded by these other people, and the other guys are all like, he's fucked. Like, they don't say something like he's done or whatever, but like, he's never gonna be he can't come back from this. And she's the only person in the room who's like, that was beautiful. You know what I mean? And for me, that one snippet I thought was as well. So to go get this, I wanted to just read it last night, watch the speech myself. Jumping in and reading it, my question is, it doesn't sound like we took the right path. Unless I'm wrong. This is 1979, and it seems like it could apply as much today as it did then in terms of everything that's wrong with us, right? But to go back to the fact of where he's talking about there's these two paths, right? Like, we can either continue down this selfish route, or we can start worrying about each other again and what America is. I think that, a year later, a little bit more, right, on the 4th of November, as elections usually happen, 1980, he gets fucking routed by Reagan. Like, I've always, and this is the thing, is like, not being born in that era, you go through American history, and I even feel like once you get past, like, Kennedy, American history is very much like, and some shit happened, and at least when I was growing up. So to get into the weeds of looking at this, like, I always knew that people didn't like Carter at the time, and blah, 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 and then Reagan comes in. Reagan cleans his clock, 489 electoral votes to 49, like, just dominates him, right? So it's even there, it's like, he talks about in this speech that they don't want easy answers, they want honest ones. And I feel like what spoke to me about this was watching this man deliver this speech in a movie and then watching it later, is the fact that it's so heartfelt. And he's also so much at the end of his rope in terms of like, I'm the president and I'm fucking trying here. I'm trying to get this shit. If he could curse, that's what it would be. Like, right? Or I'm fucking trying to get this shit off the ground. I need you to meet me halfway. Yeah. And I don't think anybody did. And I think it got glossed over. And then Reagan comes in because he talks about self-indulgence, right? He talks about all this different stuff. He is giving this warning that then becomes the 80s. The 80s are the time of excess. They are the time of, look at this fucking awesome cell phone and then the crazy ass neon and all, you know what I mean?
Ferraris.
Like, exactly. And it's the, Wall Street and all that jazz where it's like, it really becomes that Republican Party, or at least that version of America, that conservative America, that Ronald Reagan era that is like so beloved when you look back at it. But I think it puts us on a track to this, no? Like where we are now.
I think it even just splits everything in half. That's just how things go. Like even in the speeches, you see every extreme position defended to the last vote, almost to the last breath by one group or another. And I think that him giving the warning, I think that it's not so much that no one listened. I think half the people listened, if anything, and that's a generalization. But yeah, there are people that are out there fighting to make sure that things are being shared. It's kind of when you look at where we're at today. It's like there are people that are like, you have to do it for yourself and it's all about you. And then there are people that are like, no, everything you do should be for the good of everyone. And like, let's help everyone rise up. And I feel like these type of speeches are important to at least make you think, no matter what side you're on, about where you stand and what you should be doing. It's interesting though, because like hearing you read all of this, like a lot of it does sound kind of trite to me, but I guess that's just because of I grew up in a world post this. You know, I grew up in a world where this speech had already affected whatever people it affected to do the things that they did.
Yeah.
You know,
my question would be though, did it?
It just sounds
I think
like
it must have.
This speech just could have been read like you mentioned, like a year ago.
And that's the thing that's like alarming to me is the fact that I'm always the guy, right, who for the longest time in this show when politics come up and we talk about it, I feel like we've lost the ability to talk to each other. You know what I mean? I feel like there was a time of bipartisanship and there was a time where it wasn't all just get me fucking elected, get me elected, and then stagnation of this. And here we are in 1979 and it's saying, I think, the same problems we see right now with legislation.
But see, I would argue even the other way, where it's like I feel like this speech could also have been made 30 years earlier.
Right. So, I mean, has politics always been fucked?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of the point, right? Like, I think that it's like them being fucked's not the point, but them being fucked is a reality. Like, I think that it's a competition, and the competition has so many different rules and so many different games, and it evolves over time that it always is going to be a battle of ideologies. And there's no way that everyone's ever going to agree on anything, whether it's what's the best ice cream flavor or something that actually really matters. It's
Is
like,
Batman vs Superman a good movie?
Well,
yeah,
we already
there's no
agreed
way.
on, we know.
But like that, there's still going to be people that will fight and say it's a good movie. You know?
Well, because they're right.
I mean, that's
Whatever. They're all wearing T-shirts.
Yeah.
That say it.
They all bought shirts. That kind of.
But I just think that that's why politics exists, is because there needs to be a system in place for different ideologies to disagree and for one of them to be the winner at the end of the day. And I think that the reason we have the systems in place of how long presidents are allowed and how long the Houses and Senate are allowed to be in it is because they're trying to make sure that it's like we are constantly reevaluating, giving a chance for these discussions and debates to happen and then move forward from there. But yeah, that does allow, or it does force a lot of not progression because only some of the things are being done and you need all the things to be done on the left to get the left plan in place, or all the things on the right to get the right. But where we're at, it's like, well, they won this, they won that. So we're just getting this weird thing where this is always going to be true.
Stuck in the middle all the time.
But I hate that, Andy. I don't like that. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to look back and have things be better than they were. And I put one of the ellipses in there where he's like, we've faced so much in the last decade, and he goes into like, the assassination of Kennedy and Dr. King. And I really feel like that's where the idealized American democracy died, if that makes sense. Where I think from there on out, it was like Kennedy was like, people thought he was going to be the golden boy and fix every stuff, and we're going to get him on the moon. And granted, the Cuban Missile Crisis is in there and stuff to that effect. But I feel like as soon as then you bring in Lyndon Johnson, I feel like he's like the old, like rusted, cranky white guy from Texas, right? And that kind of like sets you on this path of like, well, this is what politics is. And then you get, I guess the weirdest thing about this is, watching this video and reading this speech, I want to hug Jimmy Carter so bad. Yeah. And I've never I've never known anything about Jimmy Carter beforehand, really, other than he was a one-term president and people didn't really like him. But clearly he had the deck stacked against him, and it goes into the whole hostage crisis and stuff like that would then come after him and then get Reagan in there so easy. I don't know.
I just don't know how divided we were at that time if he got trounced that badly by Reagan.
Well, the thing was, like, I think for Jimmy Carter, and I'm not a Jimmy Carter scholar, but like Jimmy Carter promised one thing, and I think this speech is indicative of like not being able to deliver on that. Like whether it was like his fault or not, like he couldn't deliver. And I think just with how politics works, like Reagan comes in, promises the moon, the sun, and the stars, and like you're always going to go for like I think the people went for what was promised rather than what wasn't, what they felt wasn't currently working. And then like you had your own problems for the Reagan era, and it was just sort of this like cycle of politics of like being promised something that can't be delivered.
Yeah,
I think you need to be VP for The Rock in 2020.
I do.
Have you seen that campaign?
Yeah, I saw that they filed something with the Federal Trade Commission or whoever it is. The campaign.
The Brahma Bull.
Them talking about there's the first generation where it's like you don't think that your kids are going to have a better life than you. I think that might be the one thing that's, I mean, again, it is 50-50, but it's like, I do believe that no matter how shitty we are now, like things are going to work out and it will be better for my kids than it is for me.
You think so?
I do.
I hope so, but I don't know. I mean, I don't. I also, like you're saying, I'm not a scholar. I don't watch this. But it also is the weird thing of like the whole thing with the Trump presidency right now. And granted, it's hyperbole everywhere on everything. It's so hard to get again the facts and how much they're like. But like, so the stories you hear, what's happening and the Russian stuff, and Ivanka sitting at or Ivana. Ivana. It is Ivanka. He married Ivana, then had Ivanka. All right.
No,
Other way around. Ivana
his
Trump.
daughter is Ivanka.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he had married Ivana. Whatever. His daughter's sitting at the global leader, the G20 meeting, and all this different stuff. And it's those questions of just like, I assume none of this is that bad because shouldn't he even bounce by now if that was that bad? You know what I mean? We're talking about impeachment, but it isn't happening because I would assume it's not happening because there isn't enough blood to get it to go, right? And like that's the whole thing of just like I don't know what the hell's going on over there, but it's also the thing of like what we talked about leading into it of the fact of even if he's going to be a bad president, how bad can he really make it? What power does the presidency really have? It is the normal thing of like, well, the other nations are laughing at us. Like the whole report from the G20 thing was like, and like other nations don't even want to talk to him because he won't, talk about anything but his own stuff, and he has these talking points and he won't get off of that. So why even bother hanging out with him or anything like that? I don't know. It's just, I wanted to look back and this speech to me, I'm like, okay, let's go see it and watch it and read it. It's like, man, I feel for Jimmy Carter being out there like, hey, something's fucked up. And then it is Reagan coming in and being like, are you better now than you were 4 years ago?
Yeah.
And then of course being in some respects, like I think Trump, where he's like, he's a celebrity. He comes in and granted he's been governor of California already, but I mean to come in and be a celebrity and be like you're saying, promise everything that he's going to fix it. And then the economy does bounce back. He does this hostage thing. He does a bunch of stuff, but
yeah, the speech was sampled in a Lil Wayne song.
Which one?
President Carter.
Oh yeah. Was
Lil
it
Wayne's
positive?
last name
was
is Carter.
Oh, was it? So it wasn't about Jimmy Carter?
No, but it just in the chorus it was like President Carter, President Carter, just his name over.
Sure,
and over. But
sure.
sampled from the
Can we
speech.
overdub that song?
I did a pretty good job. It might just
okay, good.
automatically connect.
You think we can get Jimmy Carter on this show to hug him? Because when he flies domestic, and when he does, he shakes every hand of
He
the person
shakes
on the plane.
everybody's hand. That's right.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of photos and videos of that on the internet.
Yeah, he seems like a nice guy. Seems like he got a raw deal here.
It's just like
I need to learn more about.
You're spreading a lot of germs, Jimmy. Like, let's be real here.
That's what you're doing. He's keeping his immune system up.
Yeah, the people at the back of the plane are like, "Oh fuck."
Oh, God damn it.
Yeah.
It's weird to hear this though, because it definitely comes off, and I know that this is the point, but it comes off a little bit where I'm like, dude, you figure it out. Like, don't fucking. This just sounds like you're putting this on us, and I get that.
But you're all in it together, Tim. That's the point.
And I get it, but it's just like it does sound like a
I didn't
thrown
run
in the
for
towel
president.
type situation where, and I know that they need the help and there needs to be something to motivate people. I just think that going back to like the advertising and marketing thing, to me, this doesn't make me go like, all right, I'm going to actually do what you're telling me to do and work together. This doesn't motivate me to.
It doesn't make me shocked that he lost. Like, I mean,
No, not at all.
Yeah,
But I mean, like,
it's obvious that like this is a cry for help and like, hey, I've lost control. So why would anybody want to vote for him again?
I suppose more like you're not meeting me halfway.
Yeah.
Right? Like you the power of the president is in place to him from the people. And I think, after you have an election, like it's two sides very much against each other, and it's the president's job after the election to unite those two sides.
Yeah.
When Jimmy Carter's in a situation like that, I feel like, yeah, man, like that's a tough way. That's a tough position to be in to try to unite two sides.
Definitely. And I just think that there is and this is a shitty thing to say, but there's a difference between blaming someone and guilting them into doing something. And I feel like this is blaming instead of guilting
See,
them.
I guess one of the things I like so much about this speech is that I feel like it's so honest in the way that, and don't get me wrong, it's not the right move necessarily. It's not the power move. Chances are, before you even think about saying this, the writing's on the wall that you're going to get your clock clean. You know what I mean? That you're not coming back and do this. Because he almost lost to Ted Kennedy in terms of the primary coming back. I understand that. So I don't know. I appreciate the honesty above all else of just like, you're all saying this, but I really need your help to do any of the things you're saying. You know what I mean? I respect that. I respect Jimmy Carter a lot
At
more.
any point, when in his life did he say, like, I'm going to keep hoping that people call me Jimmy? Didn't he ever want to be called Jim? Like, because
James.
Jimmy's like a kid thing.
Hey, got him elected.
Yeah, but that's, like,
a kid
also
thing,
cool.
Jiminy
Jimmy
Cricket.
Carter has a balance to it, man. I will say.
Jiminy Cricket is not Jimmy.
I hate you. Sorry.
Jiminy Cricket is a very different name.
Ain't that
Same.
right, Timmy Gettys?
I went by Timmy for a long time.
See, like Jimmy Neutron, he's probably Jim Neutron by now. That's what I'm saying.
Jimbo.
No way, you don't
solid.
give up that brand recognition. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, that's got SEO on it. It's got that SEO stank. Yo, Andy, it's about page ranking. You know this. Like, I battle it out day by day with Vernon Lordenshaw, the former now deceased president of the Dominican Republic.
Really?
Yeah, he's got me beat. He's got me.
But for how long? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's not
we're
making new
working our way up.
content.
Yeah.
Well, just say Vernie.
Yeah.
Vernie.
Yeah, Vernie Shaw.
Remember
Yeah.
Vern?
No,
From
man. So
that-
okay, the thing is, like, it's been my life goal. I used to hate the name Vernon. And now I love it because, like, they're, you know, like, you're not competing as many,
unique,
as many
yeah.
people for the search rankings, of course, obviously. But also, like, oh man, it's my life goal to make Vernon a cool name again.
It's a cool
I
name.
want that out.
You're
Yeah,
gonna have to keep working.
I'm gonna have to keep working on it
Yeah.
because, like, I'm not getting a lot of help out there.
when you were growing up, did kids call you Vern because Ernest goes to camp? Because Ernest remembered, hey Vern.
It was just any shortening of the name, so it was like Vernon and then Vern and then I thought I got to V in high school and I was like I like that. That wasn't the worst nickname.
Okay.
Vernon the Midnight Oil.
Yeah.
Let's do something.
No,
Let's
my
get a
my,
ball.
my Tumblr is Vern after reading.
Oh,
So-
very cool. Very cool.
Vernon Ball.
Yeah.
Like Cannonball.
Okay. Well,
If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Game Over Greggy
We
show.
tried.
Each and every week, 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table. Each bring a random topic of
right.
discussion for your amusement. If you like that, head over to patreon.com/kindafunny where you can get each and every episode early. How early, Tim? As early as we record them for just $1. You can get them live. You know what I'm saying, man?
I do know what you're saying.
All right,
I had
cool.
no idea. I was
Vernon
just
Ball.
blank.
Yeah.
Vernon truck. Like fire truck.
But Vernon.
fucking shit, man.
If you don't want to pay us any money, it's no big deal. Head over to youtube.com/kindafunny where we put the show up topic by topic, day by day, until it goes up as one big MP3 and video the following Friday. Vernon,
Hey,
we love you.
thank you.
Thank you
for
for
having
coming
me.
by.
Thank you for having me and
coming
Layton on,
by.
man.
No
Appreciate
problem.
that.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
Hey, Layton, how are you? You
Thanks,
want to come on?
Layton.
Come on in and say goodbye.
Say goodbye.
Yay.
Buy the game. Buy the game.
Thank you. Yeah,
Buy
please.
the game.
Dream. I always screw up the whole thing.
DreamDaddy.biz.
That's
all you gotta know.
That's all I gotta say.
That's all you gotta know.
Or
DreamDaddy.biz.
www.google.com/
Dad game Vernon.
Yeah, that
Naked pics of
how-
Vernon
yeah.
Shaw.
Actually, yeah, probably.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Until next time, it's been our
You
pleasure
don't have
to
to
serve
creep
you.
off camera. Say it later.
Creep off camera.